All right, thanks, Justin. Be safe out there. Ophelia already causing issues up and down the eastern seaboard. These are the scenes earlier as the storm pummeled the coastline. We've got millions under tropical alerts right now, stretching from South Carolina into Virginia and even a small sliver of coastline. We've got a hurricane watch just in case. Ophelia already causing issues along the eastern seaboard. Check out the scenes. You saw the scenes there with the storm pummeling the coastline. Here is a look at the center of Ophelia right now, just offshore, but barely. So landfall is pretty much imminent. It's a high-end tropical storm. All you need are winds of 74 miles an hour, and we would have a Category 1 hurricane. So needless to say, whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane, you're going to have these very strong impacts. It's only moving at about 9 miles an hour. It has slowed down since the last advisory, and the pressure has also come down a little bit too. But as you can see, it's running out of water, so it'll eventually make that landfall, thank goodness, and there will be some weakening as it interacts with land, and then eventually moving up into the mid-Atlantic with those winds dying down and losing tropical characteristics, but still you're going to be dealing with those tropical downpours. We've got tropical storm warnings in effect from the Delmarva Peninsula, southeastern Virginia, where we've already had some minor coastal flooding around Virginia Beach. You can see the Outer Banks in North Carolina, but even that small sliver of coastline here, including Beaufort, North Carolina, it's a hurricane watch just in case those winds come up and we could see hurricane conditions there. So here is a look at our power tracker, a power outage tracker. You can see especially now just to the northeast of the center. That's where the worst of the weather has been this morning. So the lights have been going out. North Carolina alone dealing with nearly 31,000 customers without power. Virginia coming in second place there with 19,000 customers, each customer representing a household or a business. And we do expect that number to go up. Here's a look at some of the buoy reports where we've had winds of around 81, even up to 83 miles an hour, especially on the eastern side of the storm. That's where the stronger winds are, thankfully offshore for now. But even Wilmington, it's an offshore wind sustained to 21, but gusting to around 35 miles an hour. And there will be some higher gusts as we bring our system northward through this morning. In the next hour, it's Cape Hatteras gusting up to 60 miles an hour, eventually moving up into Virginia later on tonight and into our Sunday. And that means impacts for the Northeast all day long Sunday. You're going to have the rain from what's left of Ophelia, because at this point, Ophelia will not be a tropical system any longer. Now, there will be some strong winds, even up here around D.C. and Baltimore. We've got wind advisories in effect, even a high wind warning in that darker shade of purple along the Jersey Shore down to Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. Those winds could exceed 60 miles an hour, and even the threat for tornadoes is going to be in there as well. Here is a look as we go through our Saturday. Those winds creeping up there, even New York City. By overnight tonight, we're going to see those stronger gusts for Philly, Atlantic City, southern New England as we get into our Sunday. So just keep in mind, if you lose your power, be very careful with the generators. Only use them outdoors. Don't plug into walls. Use heavy-duty extension cords to connect your appliances, and also turn that generator on before plugging your appliances into it. Reynolds, over to you.
Okay, good people. If you're just waking up, let's get you caught up on everything you need to know about Ophelia. You've got 4 million people that find themselves under tropical alerts right now as Ophelia closes in on the East Coast. Both Virginia and North Carolina declared states of emergencies. Virginia Governor Gwen Youngkin has pre-positioned emergency crews to respond to anyone who gets into trouble as the storm roars ashore. The Virginia Beach government has opened up city garages so people can protect their cars from the worst elements. A lot of times it's not the shelter really for overhead. It's just getting into higher ground as that water begins to pile up in a lot of locations. Okay, I believe we're going right now to national correspondent Justin Michaels. He's in the thick of it. He always is. This time you'll find him in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Justin, the shot behind you is just compelling as could be. Unfortunately, I know conditions are going to get worse as we step forward through time.
Well, right now, Reynolds, of course, where the eye is located on the coast, we are on the northeast side of it, so the dirty side of the storm, and that dirty side of the storm also includes a lot of sand. And I'm telling you what, if I faced off to the east right now, I'd get a face full of sand. Dangerous conditions presenting right now. I want you to take note to what we're seeing out there at the Oceanon Pier, how the water is just raging across. It's an easterly wind pushing the water underneath the pier. And I'll tell you what, there are times where you see waves coming through there that have got to be up to the deck boards. You can see it blowing through. Now, to give you perspective, if you're just tuning into us, the directions, let's give you some geography here. That is due south, okay? Ophelia is like a monster out at sea right now, moving 9 miles per hour towards the coast. coast, probably right out there about 50 miles. Okay, it's coming this way, but very slowly. I'm now looking due north. That's east, that's west. The wind is, of course, blowing easterly from east to west, and it is blowing in high fashion. We're also seeing storm surge issues here. The National Hurricane Center forecast for storm surge on the coast is 2 to 4 feet. Inland is 4 to 6. Remember, when we're talking about storm surge, and this little bit of water here is actually storm surge coming in off of the Atlantic. A little while ago, we had an extraordinary push of it come through, making this pool here. But storm surge is defined as water above normally dry ground. It is something that coastal residents from Maine all the way to Miami and, of course, the West Coast, people prepare for it. And, of course, it is part of life of living here, dealing with coastal storms. We caught up with Bill Langston yesterday. He's a business owner here in Atlantic Beach and also a resident. Listen.
There's always localized flooding. There's always damage from the wind that occurs. We just don't know the potential of it. But we always strap down and make proper precautions. The people that live here have been through this a lot of times.
Right.
So we're just pretty prepared, or we get as prepared as we can.
And there it is, being prepared as best they can. That's what coastal residents do. This isn't their first rodeo when it comes to coastal storms. They, of course, know what to do. And, of course, if your property is in that flood zone area and you know what your elevation is, and I can promise you there's not one person that lives on the coast that doesn't exactly know down to the inch what their elevation is, they know that they're going to have to deal with storm surge flooding if they're within that 4 to 6 foot range. Interestingly enough, you think to yourself, wait a second, why is on the coast 2 to 4 feet and inland is 4 to 6 feet? Well, it has to deal with the storm, but it also has to deal with the elevation. And out here on the coast, we're actually a little higher than points inland, which gives you some indication that the storm surge flooding inland will likely be higher as well. They're preparing for that. I can tell you, power outages, you heard Kelly talking about it, those are on the rise. So we're watching that. We're also watching the storm get slower and slower, but moving slowly towards the coast at about 9 miles per hour. Landfall, what is that going to be in the next maybe hour or so? Just here on this coastline. If you look at a map, you'll see that Atlantic Beach does face south. So it's a kind of an odd positioning on the East Coast that is due south, but that is what we have, Reynolds. And I'll tell you what, Reynolds, these winds, they are incredible. Reynolds, also interesting to look at the tropical storm warning put out by the National Weather Service, because we've got the hurricane watch and the tropical storm warning. In one of the warnings that came out around 11 o'clock last night, they were forecasting for the potential of 70 knot winds. That's 80 miles per hour. So those are certainly hurricane force. Reynolds, my question for you, sir, is it likely or certainly possible that they could upgrade this to a Cat 1 hurricane, because those winds would certainly place it there?
You can't rule anything out at all. I think it's certainly that possibility, but it's getting awfully close. We're running out of time, no doubt. Hey, Justin, before we let you go, I got to ask you, you are probably one of the perfect people to have out there because you've got such experience as a sailor. As you were approaching your live shot location yesterday, as you were coming in and you still had the benefit of daylight, did you see a lot of action in a lot of the marinas? Do you see them evacuating boats, or are they pretty much just tied in trying to ride out the storm?
I can tell you a lot of the boats, a lot of people have boat lifts here, Reynolds, getting their boats out of the water by several feet. Other boats were docked nothing. There's no mooring here. Of course, mooring is kind of the iconic New England thought, Reynolds, where you have the boat sitting out in a harbor tied down. That's a mooring line. When you're docked, obviously, you're in some sort of a marina. There are lots of boats still in the marina, and I will tell you, as soon as we have the light of day, Reynolds, we're going to go over to one of them because the boats are bobbing and weaving like crazy, and it's going to give you a really interesting perspective of the storm surge, because those boats, it almost looks like they're bobbing and weaving on dry land because the water is right up to the ground level, and we know that those water levels from storm surge are going to keep going up. So we are nowhere near done with the story of Ophelia. Reynolds, back into you.
Thanks so much, folks at the Weather Channel. Let me tell you, when we have any questions about nautical issues, we always go to Justin. He is our resident sailor, and a darn good one at that. All right, so let's talk about what we're dealing with out there. If you're standing outside and you happen to be on these beaches and you're in the wind and the rain, you're going to find yourself very cold very quickly. And the reason why is because although it's in the 70s, once that water gets under your skin, it begins to draw a lot of your body heat, and you'll cool down fast. Unfortunately, we've got other types of water. Surge, storm surge watches and warnings. They're up and down the coast. You see it there from Chikatee clear down down to Surf City. All these places will be affected. But one point that we have to drive home that Justin was talking about is you think about the issues you have back into the sound itself, not out on the barrier island itself, but when you get right back into places like Pamlico Sound, that water is going to be pushed up in a very, very big way with the potential of 4 to 6 feet, maybe as much as 7 or 8. That's certainly possible. Justin was asking about, will it or won't it? Will this become a hurricane? Well, if it's going to, it needs to get its act together pretty quickly because we do not have a whole lot of time before it comes on shore. But right now, let me tell you, it doesn't matter whether it is or isn't. It's still a force to be reckoned with. And this is what we have in terms of your storm surge flooding right now. And notice it's not just out on parts of the Outer Banks or right here along the coast. It's well inland. So you're going to have this in places like possibly Annapolis before all is said and done. Could happen in, say, certainly Washington near the Tidal Basin, but Solomon's Island and Bishop's Head certainly beginning to report an increase. Coastal flood advisories, do we have those? We certainly do. And although we've got crews that are, let's see, not only in the Carolinas, but up and down much of the eastern seaboard, we've got issues that are going to happen along the Jersey Shore, possibly Long Island. Long Island Sound could be affected, and even spots back towards Fredericksburg along the Rappahannock River. So there are a lot of places that will be affected away from the ocean. So it's going to be just this kind of a tug of war, so to speak, between the wind, the rain coming down, the surge, and the current trying to push back out to the Atlantic. So it is just really a mosh pit, a shoving match, so to speak. As we wrap it up and send it back to Kelly, the one we're keeping a sharp eye on, your high tide on Saturday afternoon for Morehead City, right at 2:23, Kelly.
Yeah, that's when we could see really a lot of inundation of water. So let's take a look at Surf City, where we're also dealing with the water coming from the sky and moving in from the ocean as well. It's 64 now. Your winds are gusting to 48. It's sustained at 31, but gusting close to 50 miles an hour. That's why you see the camera shaking around a little bit out there. Notice on the right side of that picture, I see a lot of water that's starting to cover up. It looks like a roadway right there. So again, stay out of the water, stay away from the water. Water is not your friend. All day long today, even up into the northeast coast. And we've had way too many surf zone deaths this year, 78 of those deaths. And you can see 34 just in the state of Florida. A lot of them visitors from out of town, and a lot of those in the panhandle of Florida, where not just deaths happened, but a lot of rescues took place as well. So keep in mind, the surf is dangerous. The rip currents are high up and down the entire east coast. So when you see the flags, yellow means rough waters are out there. Use caution. Not a lot of lifeguards this time of the year beyond Labor Day weekend. Red means serious hazards with the surf and the rip current strength. So if you're not a strong swimmer, you definitely want to avoid getting in the water. Maybe stick to the hotel pool. If you happen to be on vacation, double red, you're not even supposed to be in that water at all. In fact, some beaches, some municipalities will fine you if they catch you in the water. So pay attention to the flags. They mean something, and especially considering we do have Ophelia, really churning up the chop here from North Carolina all the way to the mid-Atlantic and even down into Florida, where, this time of year you still want to be able to go out in the water. It's just going to be too dangerous, especially on the east side of Florida. Surf is up for sure for much of the Outer Banks, North Carolina, even up toward the Jersey Shore and Long Island. And those winds will be interacting with the water and therefore generating the wave action 15 to 20 feet as we go throughout our Saturday and even into the second half of the weekend. The waves will still be dangerous in the northeast before they finally calm back down, Reynolds. We get Ophelia out of here. Good thing it's not going to stall out, but it is moving very slowly still.
It is a slow mover, and so many, you could pick out anything you talked about, from the wind to the rain to the inundation. There are a lot of features that we're following here. My goodness. Let's go right to it and zoom in on a couple of locations where we have some trouble. And as we show you the radar, the least surprising thing we have this morning is this particular thing. Our flash flood warning, you see the counties listed. That includes Emerald Isle, Piney Green, and Swansboro. Veronica Dolan, our weather producer, is on it this morning, just showing us this rough weather. Be ready for this, and folks, get used to this flash flood warning, because we're going to see more of these become numerous as this begins to meander its way through. Remember, these don't move directly from point to point. They tend to wobble, and there's a lot that comes with them. Each of these concentric bands, all capable of producing the strong wind, the heavy rainfall, and maybe even some tornadic activity too. I know. We're throwing an avalanche of information at you, and that is usually the nature when it comes to these storms. But we're all in this together. We'll step you through. Stay dry, stay safe. Coverage continues coming up right here on the Weather Channel. See you in a few.
for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saved Slider Sunday again!
Wow. Here we go. Perfect King's Hawaiian slider.
Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
Big moment here for Charles, who ate a big old bowl of Raisin Bran Crunch and packed a downright immaculate carry-on. Big Chuck, you sock-rolling son of a...
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hold on to the little things.
Is this yours?
You
ready? Surprise!
I
don't think you're gonna clear this.
I got this.
Don't blink.
It's yours now.
It's just a moment they call a lifetime.
Kelly needs new floors.
I need new floors.
So she went to the flooring experts at LL Flooring, and it was as easy as 1, 2, 3, floor. Nice one, Kelly. LL Flooring, every step covered. That looks really high.
It is high. Whenever you're ready.
Are there any snakes?
Nope.
You sure? Here we go.
It's time to push your limits.
You're doing great.
Whoa, is that a buffalo?
Babe, that's a cow.
The all-new Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Adventure on the edge.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel, because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Help.
When you fall and can't get help,
Help.
you will lie on the floor for hours or days in constant, terrible anguish, which often results in a tragic outcome. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether at home,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
or on the go.
Help! I'm in the park and I can't get up.
And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-910-1964. That's 1-800-910-1964. Call now. 1-800-910-1964.
The Weather Channel, now available to everyone.
This is epic!
Trusted live coverage when it matters most is now yours to stream with the Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and maps that let you track all the action. Exclusive storm coverage to keep you informed, landfall cameras and live interactive chats with our weather experts, and so much more. There's never been a better way for everyone to watch the Weather Channel. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
America's Weekend Headquarters continues right now. This is Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. I'm Justin Michaels. We are live for you on the coast as Ophelia continues to get closer and closer. We're just waiting for the National Hurricane Center to declare landfall. If that happens, we'll tell you about it immediately and also where it happens. But first, here in Atlantic Beach, you can see conditions looking out at the Oceanon Pier. Really extraordinary, the flow of the wind, as we're finally beginning to see just a little bit of morning twilight. So we're going to have sunrise here in a little bit, really shedding light on a lot more, so you'll be able to see a lot more. I want to take you, though, south of where we are, down to Surfside, North Carolina, another community being battered by Ophelia this morning. You can see by this camera shot here, just an extraordinary scene there. But as bad as that might look, as bad as we have it here, I want to show you Nags Head to our north. Nags Head, North Carolina, is really feeling the brunt of Ophelia, at least at this moment. Of course, these storms ebb and flow. They breathe, they live. Conditions get extremely bad, and then they back off a little bit. But Nags Head, one more community dealing with this, and so many places are dealing with the power of Ophelia as it comes ashore. And in fact, we just had landfall. Veronica Orioki, do we have a location for landfall? Just made landfall. Okay, we'll tell you the specific community that has the distinction of being Ophelia's landfall, but we do have a landfalling tropical storm at this point, packing winds right here where we're gusting up over 50 miles per hour, Reynolds and Kelly. And of course, the National Hurricane Center is tracking the storm surge that is going to likely be a problem as this day goes on. 4 to 6 feet is the forecast inland, 2 to 4 here on the coast. But again, we now have the breaking news we can share here this morning on America's Weekend Recharge. Ophelia has made landfall in North Carolina. Guys, back into you.
There you go. Yeah, 25 miles. What is it, Kelly? West-northwest of Cape Lookout?
That's right. West-northwest of Cape Lookout, making landfall as a high-end tropical storm.
Yes,
70
indeed.
miles an hour would have taken, 74 miles an hour for it to become a hurricane. But again, running out of time over water, which is a good thing, but it's still packing a punch with these strong winds. And I'm so glad it did make landfall because the pressure was beginning to fall a little bit.
Right. Okay. So here's the story that we think it's going to have. Now, remember, Kelly, this is not just the outflow. This is where we think the center will go.
Exactly. So right now it's in North Carolina, but eventually it moves up into Virginia, the mid-Atlantic, losing tropical characteristics by tonight, according to the Hurricane Center, but still packing a punch along that trip because we're still going to have the heavy rain and the coastal flooding.
Yeah, look at that. Tropical storm alerts, we've got them for you. The tropical storm warnings, rather, in your hurricane watches. One thing to watch, too, is look at some of these squiggly lines you'll see in terms of some of the counties. Those are basically your rivers, and they all flow out to the Atlantic. But now you have the shove of, well, the wind and the water going the opposite
So you're going to
direction.
have a battle. The water's trying to go out to sea, but the winds say, no, not so fast. So power outages, they're starting to climb a little bit now. You can see North Carolina alone, 32,000 customers. Virginia also dealing with the outages.
I know that we've got a lot of crews at the ready to get out there and restore power, but you've got to wait for the wind to die down before they can get your services restored. And in terms of power, we're seeing some of these pretty impressive. What was that? I keep forgetting.
Yeah, there was an 83 mile an hour gust offshore. That was a buoy report. The strongest winds have been certainly, especially that offshore wind around Wilmington, at times gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour. And we are going to have these tropical storm force conditions throughout the morning and even into the early afternoon for some of you.
Really important thing to remember is that this is where you have not just meteorology, but geology and topography matters. Hatteras, elevation 3 feet.
That's it.
3 feet above sea level. That is
Highway 12, probably not a good time today, not a good time to be driving anywhere you see the system kind of moving toward the north as we head towards this afternoon around 5 o'clock. Then you've got the winds increasing for Richmond, Virginia, over towards Ocean City. You get in on the stronger winds overnight into tomorrow morning.
There you go. Now, in terms of the surge potential, 1 to 3 feet in some places, 2 to 4. But Kelly, that catches your eye.
It's already been coming up for some of these areas areas, especially around Beaufort, North Carolina. So 6 feet above normally dry ground. Not that entire coastline, but somewhere along the coast could see a worst case scenario like that. Coastal flood warnings in effect for the darker shade of green, but even inland, as you were mentioning earlier, around the Potomac and right around the Chesapeake Bay, we could have some coastal flooding here as well.
Fort McHenry near Baltimore, it's going to be going up. Your severe thunderstorms, we've got that in the mix today from Ocean City down to Moorhead and every spot in between.
Yeah, that means we just can't rule out severe weather, including isolated tornadoes. That will be a possibility, not so much near the center, but any one of these rain bands well away from the center. We see some lightning with some of that too. That also helps to get those rainfall rates going. And unfortunately, we could see flooding in many areas.
Busy morning and a busy day. Wow.
So you want to stay with the Weather Channel all weekend long. We've got you covered. Our meteorologist standing by across the impact zone, bringing you the very latest from Ophelia throughout the day.
And the Weather Channel streaming app has you covered with our traffic tropics special stream from storm surge to updated future radars. It's going to get you through the weekend and beyond. Download today on Amazon Fire, Roku, and more at streamtwc.com.
Travel, there is nothing like it.
Dancing is my passion.
But with my moderate to severe eczema, it hasn't always been easy.
I was constantly itching.
Whatever I was doing.
Now I'm staying ahead of my eczema.
There's a power inside all of us to live our passion. And Dupixent works on the inside to help heal your skin from within. It helps block a key source of inflammation inside the body that can cause eczema, so adults can have long-lasting, clearer skin and fast itch relief. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor.
Healing from within is a powerful thing.
Ask your eczema specialist how Dupixent can help heal your skin from within.
If your thyroid eye disease was diagnosed a long, long time ago, you may think your eyes will be bulging forever, like a never-ending curse that can't be broken. But even if you've been told it's too late, treating your thyroid eye disease may still be possible, and a new day is within sight. Learn how you could give your eyes a fresh start at stilltreatted.com.
Come on, chameleon. Come and go, you come and go. Loving will be easy because you like my dream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and
green. My bucket's leaking. Look. Oh my gosh, Milo caught a fish.
A fish? A what? Back to the lake. Fast. Stop taking pictures.
Mom, what do I do?
Nothing, baby. All good.
We're a fish ambulance.
We are?
Totally.
Hang in there, kids.
Almost there.
Okay, guys, let's go.
Bye, fishy.
Life's grander in the first ever Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure complete balanced nutrition with 27 vitamins and minerals, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
New Quaker Fruit Fusion with real fruit pieces. A bold start to a bold morning. Quaker, getting up to some good since 1877.
The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare, there for what matters.
Teeth sensitivity is so common. Immediately it feels like somebody's poking directly on the nerve. I recommend Sensodyne. Sensodyne toothpaste goes inside the tooth and calms the nerve down. And my patients say, you know, doc, it really works.
There's one juice that can satisfy that savory craving and get you your veggies. There's only one V8.
All right, we are tracking Ophelia officially making a landfall just to the west-northwest of Cape Lookout, North Carolina. But look out here in Surf City. You guys have been dealing with some heavy rain and gusty winds. You remain under a tropical storm warning this morning.
Landfall on the first morning of fall. Now, as Ophelia heads north, its outer bands are bringing widespread rain, winds, and Kelly, all the problems that come with it.
I mean, we're talking about a very messy storm, which in some cases is, worse because you have a lot of impacts that stretch far and wide from where the center is moving onshore. We want to bring you back out to Justin Michaels in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Justin, I just checked your sunrise. It won't be until a few minutes after 7 o'clock. But what can you tell us? What are you seeing there in terms of the water coming up?
Well, Kelly and Reynolds, it's interesting. The wind has certainly changed direction, which makes sense as the storm is making landfall. The thing is going to change a little bit. At least the impacts where we are in a fixed point as the storm is moving, the winds are going to move around us, right? So when we first got here this morning, this will be quite interesting as we're watching the winds. They were easterly. I mean, due east, coming straight across this way, across our live shot. Now I feel the wind at my back. So it's an onshore flow. So the winds are certainly changing now that we have the landfall and the storm continues to move inland very slowly. What we're also experiencing, and we know that storm surge is going to be a major problem now that we have that onshore flow. So now the storm is pushing the water onshore. It has been doing that from the east. Now it's going to be doing it from the south. And to give you some geographic points to understand the way we're facing, as I'm looking at you right now, I'm looking north. That is due south, which means the storm is now on land, but it's around us right now, okay? Because Cape Lookout is off to our east, so we're kind of in the middle of it all where we are here in Atlantic Beach. Whether it's an eye or not, that's up to the meteorologists to decide, but we're in the middle of the storm right now. And it's interesting, if you've been watching us all morning, you may notice that earlier this morning, I was, kind of struggling to stand up and kind of bracing myself. Now, is there a breeze? Sure. Is it windy? Yeah, it's windy, but it's nothing like it was. So conditions certainly have changed, and again, that wind direction has changed. So as we go through this day here, along the coast and inland, we need to be paying attention to the two worst words we can really ever talk about in almost any storm, and that is storm surge. Storm surge on the coast, the forecast is 2 to 4 feet. Inland, even higher, 4 to 6. That's water above normally dry ground. Of course, coastal residents will know exactly how high their home is, or their business is, or where they are in relationship to the elevation, right? They know exactly where that is, and they know it down to the inch, whether or not that 4 to 6 range is going to impact them or not. The 2 to 4 foot range is going to impact them. I can tell you this little bit of water here, this is from some storm surge inundation we saw earlier this morning. It came cruising in here, an extraordinary amount of water, wave coming in, and it's kind of made this big puddle here. And as we have this onshore flow continuing, looking out at the Oceanan Pier, you can see the water, whereas before it was just raging through the pier and going off to the west. Now it's kind of difficult because it's coming at us. So we're probably going to see some wave activity really kick in. We saw some extraordinary waves yesterday, which we can show you later in this broadcast. But we still have plenty of time, folks. This storm is nowhere near over, even though Ophelia has officially made landfall. Reynolds, Kelly, we've got a long way to go, and it's not just North Carolina. We've got Virginia, we've got Maryland, we've got Delaware, we've got New Jersey, we've got up into New England. I mean, the storm is going to keep moving. So the story of Ophelia is really, in some ways, just getting started. Guys,
very well put. Very well put. Absolutely. He's absolutely right. A lot to deal with. And some of the impacts we'll have inland, we've already been experiencing this morning. We've had widespread power outages, tree damage, and of course, rising water.
And there are multiple hazards when you're dealing with a tropical system making landfall. Of course, it's made that landfall just to the west-northwest of Cape Lookout, North Carolina, with winds of 70. So a high-end tropical storm, almost a hurricane, but thank goodness running out of time when it hit land. And as you can see, it will weaken significantly over land.
There you go. So let's see, over the next 24 hours or so, it's going to be interacting, as you mentioned, Kelly, to your point, with land, but also a lot of water when you get back into the back bays.
Right.
Certainly having the effect. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when it jettisons back out to the Atlantic.
Yeah, it'll be leftovers by the time it makes its way to the northeast, but not the kind of leftovers you want, right?
Yes,
It's going to be very heavy rain, flooding. You still have the tropical storm warnings in effect. That means tropical storm conditions are either happening now or will be happening. And the power outages, they've been climbing, especially here in North Carolina.
Yeah, I think we're going to see these continue to go up, and well into the interior of Virginia is especially going up also. Very quickly, before we go to commercial break, some of the buoy reports have been very impressive this morning.
Yeah, a lot of them offshore, the strongest winds, but still, as Justin just mentioned, the winds were stronger there this morning and will continue to bring up the windy conditions, even up to D.C., where we have a wind advisory in effect for you guys.
Surf City, it is roaring this morning.
Hey, it's me, your dry skin. I'm craving something we're missing. The ceramides in CeraVe. CeraVe with 3 essential ceramides helps restore my natural barrier so I can lock in moisture and we can feel it long after. CeraVe moisturizers.
Before and bath fitter. Before and bath fitter. If you have a before bath, now's the time to call Bath Fitter to get a beautiful after. With our unique tub-over-tub process, there's no mess or stress. Spend smart on a beautiful new bath done right, backed by a lifetime warranty. Join over 2 million happy customers who know it just fits. Bath Fitter. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
It's the final game, folks. This one wins the series.
Struck out with the cheap seats? Important things aren't worth compromising. At Farmers, we offer both quality insurance and great savings. Here. Take mine.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Tony, Jimmy John's wraps are here to stay.
Curse you, Chicken Caesar.
And jalapeno ranch.
And jalapeno ranch.
Tuscan Italian.
Get a grip, Stevie.
That's right. Jimmy John's wraps are here to stay.
Not that into saving, are you?
Whoa, dude.
Money. Because you paid too much for those glasses. Next time, go to America's Best, where 2 pairs and a free quality eye exam start at just $79.95. Book an exam today at americasbest.com.
Having triplets is amazing. So we switched to the bargain detergent, but we ended up using 3 times as much, and the clothes still weren't as clean as with Tide.
So we're back with Tide, and the clothes are clean again.
Do 3 times the laundry and get a Tide clean. It's got to be Tide.
Remember the things you loved before asthma got in the way? Fasenra is an add-on treatment for asthma driven by eosinophils. It's designed to target and remove them and helps prevent asthma attacks. Fasenra is not for sudden breathing problems or other eosinophilic conditions. Allergic reactions may occur. Don't stop your asthma treatments without talking with your doctor. Tell your doctor if your asthma worsens. Headache and sore throat may occur. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. Get back to better breathing. Ask your doctor about Fasenra.
Please don't go. Please don't go. Please don't go. Don't go. Don't go away.
SC Johnson.
Special K is oven toasted to crisp perfection, then tossed with yogurty goodness. Or maybe some red berries. Special K in so many craveable varieties, so you can do what's delicious.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers, MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
Welcome to the middle of everything. In the middle of autumn, architecture, and amazing views. Okay, Illinois, we get it. You're beautiful. It's fall in Illinois. The middle of everything.
The changing nature of Tropical Storm Ophelia live here on the Weather Channel. I'm Justin Michaels. This is Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. And if you've been watching us all morning, when you first saw us getting battered by this storm and basically being sandblasted because of the fact there was no rain as it was starting here our day, and it was blowing the sand from east to west. It was an easterly wind. Now we have a southerly wind, an onshore flow. I feel the wind directly at my back. And when I look up at the clouds, they're careening inland right now, okay? To give you some perspective on direction, that is due south. I am looking at you right now. That's due north, east, west, okay? So the changing nature of this storm, the winds are changing direction, and also what we're experiencing, it's died off just a little bit here. We're in a little bit of a lull where we are in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Earlier this morning, it was one of those mornings where you've seen us on the Weather Channel. We're bracing ourselves because the wind was that intense, okay? Now I've got it to my back, and it's nowhere near as strong. That doesn't mean it's over, though, folks. We've got a long way to go. The story of Ophelia is still being written. We have had landfall, okay? So that milestone has passed us in the last 20 minutes. Now we have to look inland, and we have to look at what the impacts are going to be with the storm surge. So coastal, the forecast right now is 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. Now that we have this onshore flow, you have to believe coastal communities, especially here on these barrier islands and inland, are going to be feeling the brunt of that storm surge in the coming hours. Inland from here, if 2 to 4 feet is happening on the coast, inland, it's even higher. Why? Because their elevation is a little bit lower, okay? So some of the rivers and tributaries leading inland are expecting 4 to 6 feet of storm surge, and some of the inland bays and things like that, obviously still connected to the coast, but further inland. So this is something that people need to be paying attention to, and I know they are. Coastal communities, no one went into this expecting it to be nothing. If anything, Ophelia might be packing a bigger punch than people may have been expecting. But believe me, people here certainly were preparing. And they have history as a guide to know exactly what's going to be happening on their property. So we've got this tropical storm warning in place. We have a hurricane watch in place here on the coast. We have a storm surge warning on the coast here as well, guys. So the dangers are real. They're in progress as we speak. And of course, as the storm moves forward, I know we're looking ahead in time to places like Maryland, looking at places like New Jersey and Delaware and Virginia and up into New England. That is where the story has yet to be written as Ophelia continues to move inland. Guys, into you.
All right, Justin, stay safe out there. Power going out left and right of you there. So unfortunately, that number going up as the winds will continue to crank with Ophelia, which has now made a landfall as a high-end tropical storm.
Okay, so here are the particulars that we have for you. This is what goes in the history books. Emerald Island, North Carolina, tropical storm winds around 70 miles an hour, and you see the pressure right there at 981. We expect that pressure actually to actually increase.
It will fill in, yeah, and it will start to weaken now that it's over land. But at 6:15, that was the official landfall time, and that places it right on the coastline there. And around the center is where you have the heavy rain bands that are still affecting us and will continue to affect us from south to north as we go through tonight and into your Sunday.
Okay, so if you've got a duration of time with winds going from 70 to 40 miles an hour in that neighborhood over a heavily wooded area, something's going to give.
You're going to have a lot of friction, and you're going to have even the possibility of tornadoes that could spin up, especially to the right of center. So as Justin just mentioned, hurricane watch as a precaution because, of course, it was coming in with the pressure dropping, but it made that landfall as a tropical storm. And you can see the tropical storm warnings extend all the way up to the Delmarva.
Okay, some of the particulars: Oregon Inlet, 68 mile per hour gust or wind reports rather. Cape Henry, Cape Lookout, and even
Beaufort, North Carolina.
Thank you very much.
Now remember, 58 is enough for a severe thunderstorm warning. So that is wind that can do damage. And of course, it has been doing damage with trees coming down, and therefore the outages, they've been increasing, especially in North Carolina, jumping to 35,000 customers.
Yeah, we were just north of 80,000. We continue to see that number rise. These numbers are also going to fluctuate. Remember, these buoys are reporting where we have the buoy location. So there are a lot of places out there where the winds could be much stronger. We're just not able to pull in that information.
And earlier this morning, some of these buoys were reporting winds of 81 to even 83 miles an hour. But thankfully, those winds are offshore. Onshore, though, it's going to be the storm surge flooding as the wind is interacting with that water, especially the northern side of the Outer Banks as we go through the next couple of hours, actually.
Okay, so you got a flight out of Richmond, Raleigh, and you're hoping for an on-time departure.
May not happen at all.
Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Travel's going to be really difficult today.
It's going to be tough, even up towards, parts of Delaware, northern Virginia. We get involved with the stronger wind overnight into Sunday as our system moves in this direction. So that's why we've got the wind advisories and even high wind warnings for the coastline.
Yeah, that certainly takes a bite out of the coastline, no doubt. Hey, check this out. Take a bite out of your sports forecast. Yeah, we've got, of course, your, again, there it is, your Slider Sunday for Kings Hawaiian. Some great contests out there, Kelly.
Yeah, not so great when it comes to the weather, though, right? So there is a tie-in when we're talking about some of these games, like the Jets taking on the Patriots, 1 o'clock kickoff, and there will be rain at the Meadowlands.
There you go. Yeah, that's going to be a 1 o'clock kickoff. Meanwhile, for the Indianapolis Colts and Ravens, looks pretty much the same for tomorrow. Toe meets weather at 1 p.m., Kelly.
At least the winds will be dying down by tomorrow. That's the good news, right? But it's going to be wet. For those of you in the stands, make sure you have that nice lined rain jacket. Those temperatures only in the mid-60s for the Washington Commanders and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, then we can make our way to Denver. This is probably a better forecast, except early chance of storms.
Slider Sunday, brought to you by Kings Hawaiian, who wants you to make your Sunday a Slider Sunday.
Hey Peyton, thanks for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saved Slider Sunday again!
Wow. Here we go. Perfect Kings Hawaiian slider.
Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
We're not writers, but we help you shape your financial story. We're not an airline, but our network connects global businesses across nearly 160 markets. We're not a startup, but our innovation labs use new technologies to help keep your information secure. We're not architects, but we help build stronger communities. We're not just any bank, we are Citi.
Hundreds of millions of lives impacted.
Look at the wind howling through here.
Tens of thousands of live reports where the weather is happening.
Yeah, this is extreme.
Thousands of storms forecasted. 40 years of storytelling. 22 specialized and advanced field degrees. 7 innovative weather presentation patents. And a former National Hurricane Center director. One trusted best-in-class expert team. America's most trusted news network. The Weather Channel.
Does this look familiar? You probably think this is what owning hearing aids would be like. Let me tell you, there's a better way. The Atom by Audion Hearing. The all-new Audion Atom is the world's first wireless charging hearing aid under $100. The Atom comes with an easy-to-use wireless charging dock. Plus, the Atom has a 22% smaller design, so it's nearly invisible when worn in the ear. That's why we have over 250,000 happy customers. Each pair has a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there is zero risk in trying them.
Call 1-800-783-8955. That's 1-800-783-8955. Call 1-800-783-8955 or go to audionhearing.com to get your pair of Audion Atom hearing aids for only $99.
All week long, explore our extraordinary planet.
Out of this world experience.
Tune in and witness some of the Earth's greatest wonders.
This is so beautiful.
We might be looking at crystals from another world.
All week long, starting at 8/7 Central, only on the Weather Channel.
As America's Weekend Recharge continues, America's Weekend Headquarters, rather, or not, continues. I'm Justin Michaels. It is an early morning here along the North Carolina coast. Ophelia has now made landfall within the last half hour. So the story of this storm continues. I will tell you the difference between earlier this morning and now can be tracked in a couple different ways. One, we have light. The sun is now coming up. But the wind direction has also quite changed here as we've been live for you this morning. I want to show you a clip from about maybe in the last 2 hours of our live shots, and you're going to notice a few things. Right now, notice how the wind is at my back. It's blowing at you, okay? In this clip, you're going to see it blowing from due east, all right, going to the west. Take a look at this. Where is the storm coming from? You're looking out at Oceanan Pier, so you're looking directly south right now as the wind is blowing from east to west. So it's an easterly wind pushing the Atlantic Ocean through the pier and also bringing in storm surge inundation here onto the beach here in Atlantic City, North Carolina. Now, we're not talking about feet of storm surge yet. I'm standing in storm surge right now, and maybe it's only an inch or more high. We did see a huge rush of storm surge coming off the Atlantic. So that was in the last 10 minutes, and now some of it's drained back out. Sounds like I'm... So that was us earlier this morning, and you can see the difference in the winds. And I'll tell you what, we were in a bit of a lull. Now the wind is really kicking in to my back. It's an extraordinary onshore flow. So whereas before it was coming from the east, now it's coming from the south. What that only means, all right, is the fact that storm surge is even higher likely now than even before, okay? It is the wind now pushing the water in. Storm surge forecasts are showing us 2 to 4 feet on the coast, 4 to 6 feet inland. That's water above normally dry ground is storm surge definition, Kelly. So, Kelly, it's amazing to see how the storm has evolved. And again, that is a nice stiff wind coming in off the Atlantic Ocean right now. So it seems to be ramping up again as the storm moves into the north and moves inland, Kelly, into you.
Yeah, and that's the problem with these winds that change in direction as these storms move over because they can weaken things initially. And then, of course, you get the other side of the wind coming in and possibly doing damage to the things that have been weakened, right? So are you seeing more? I know earlier you said there were sparks flying. Power outages in your area,
yeah,
Justin?
No. We do know right here on Atlantic Beach, it's interesting, we've been able to keep, I got to look this way because of the sand, we've been able to keep power here on the Oceanan Pier, which is a good thing. Amazingly enough, because Kelly, just a few houses down from where we are, power is out towards the south end of this island, and as it goes west, really, I guess, if you think about the geography here. So even our hotel about 3 miles that way has no power. So power outage numbers are certainly going up. I think the last check was 35,000 here in the state of North Carolina. Virginia's about 15,000, so we're over the 50,000 mark for customers without power. And Kelly, every indication that number is going to be going up throughout the course of this day.
All right, Justin, thank you so much for that live report. Sunrise just after 7 o'clock this morning, but we can already see the dangerous surf out there behind you. And we're going to continue to monitor all the hazards associated with Ophelia as it continues to move from south to north, spreading the rain. Those heavy rain bands, remember, they go far from the center of Ophelia. So even though the center is right here, look at the rain far north and even west. So you're going to have these heavy rain bands producing rainfall rates of anywhere from 1 to 3 inches per hour. And of course, there's always that chance that we could see some severe weather, including isolated tornadoes. For now, no severe warnings, but we do have a flash flood warning in effect for Carteret, Onslow counties. This goes until 9 o'clock at least, right? This could be extended, but for now, you can see, of course, this is where it made landfall right here at Emerald Isle, and you can see the oranges and yellows where that heaviest rain has been happening. So, of course, the rainfall rates will really cause these streets to fill up very quickly, and then at the same time, you've got storm surge flooding, especially at times of high tide. With that onshore push of water, the northern Outer Banks, and then moving into Virginia Beach and Norfolk, very flood-prone areas as it is. And then, of course, you've got the heavy rain bands extending well to the north, well away from center of Ophelia, up towards D.C. and Baltimore, where you guys also have wind advisories in effect, and it's a high wind warning in effect for portions of the Jersey Shore down to Delaware. There's the center by later on tonight, still moving across Virginia. It's not moving a whole lot. It's moving, but it's not really moving all that quickly, and therefore therefore we've got the ability to get some flash flooding, especially in the yellow where it's more likely, but really anywhere in green. And even tomorrow into Monday morning, talk about bad commute time rentals for New York City, Philadelphia. It is just going to be very wet out there, and I'm sure we're going to be dealing with some flooded roadways.
Oh, yes, and we've got various flavors of flooding, and we're talking about, of course, the excessive rainfall, but at the same time, storm surge, water pushing towards the coast, away from it. It's going to be a variety that's going to affect a lot of people. And in terms of the numbers, anywhere from 1 to 2, if this possibly some areas as much as 3, but if this slows down its forward progress, then those numbers could go up in a very, very big way. If it accelerates much faster, the numbers should be much less. However, from Raleigh right now, from say 10 o'clock in the morning, we expect heavy rain to be moving on through Greenville. Let's see, places like Raleigh, Durham, even into spots like say Chapel Hill, heavy rain can be expected. The wind is also going to be a big issue along the coast, but also inland. A lot of problems it's going to give you in terms of your travel, in terms of your interstates, and also air travel. Hey, we're going to travel away to commercial break, but we've got more with Ophelia coming up on the other side.
A new arrival alarms the Brotherhood of Muscle. Muscular features signal power and performance. Attributes they've never seen in this build. Behold, a new breed. Ready to swarm. Ready to sting. Ready to electrify. The defiant, power-packed, all-new hybrid electric Dodge Hornet RT. Performance electrified.
Some people just know that's not gonna fit.
Oh, that's not gonna fit. Really? No, I'd cut it in half and make 2 chairs.
Those are the people who know you're in good hands with Allstate.
New Quaker Fruit Fusion with real fruit pieces. A bold start to a bold morning. Quaker, getting up to some good since 1877.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At LL Flooring, we've seen it all.
It's a rental.
It's a remodel. It's a really bad day.
Can I do this?
Can you do this? We help you find your right floor at the right price, turning indecision into your best decision. LL Flooring, every step covered.
Get saucy. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
You were diagnosed with thyroid eye disease a long time ago. And year after year, you weathered the storm and just lived with the damage that was left behind. But even after all this time, your thyroid eye disease could still change. Restoration is still possible. Learn how you could give your eyes a fresh start at TEDhelp.com.
Want a smarter way to mop? Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, an all-in-one cleaning tool with a 360-degree swivel head that goes places a regular mop just can't. Mop smarter with the new Swiffer Power Mop.
Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Well, my goodness, folks, what a morning it's been. Good morning. Or I know for many of you it's a troubling morning. Be safe the best you possibly can. I'm meteorologist Reynolds Wolf.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Cass. Ophelia has made landfall as a tropical storm. It is still bringing the wave action, the heavy rain and strong winds stretching from the Carolinas all the way up to the mid-Atlantic, triggering these warnings that you see behind us. So all the way up to the East Coast, Northeast Coast, we're talking about effects that stretch beyond the cone, covering more than 15 million of you.
Kelly and Reynolds, another major issue. Power outage numbers continue to go up here in North Carolina and also into Virginia. I'm Justin Michaels. We're not just following those power outage numbers, but also the storm surge issues that are presenting along the coast and well inland. We're going to be talking about all the impacts of the storm here on the coast coming up from Atlantic Beach, North Carolina in the next few moments. Guys, back into you.
All right, Justin, let's also take a look at Surf City in North Carolina. The camera moving around quite a bit with those strong winds. We've got a flood watch, high surf advisory in effect with Ophelia moving closer and closer now that it's inland, but you can certainly see the wave action is also very significant. So you should be off the piers, away from the water this morning. It's really all about the water when it comes to Ophelia. We've got the storm surge flooding, and then you've got the heavy rainfall that can lead to flooding as well. Just got a report that the James River in Virginia at Jamestown is now at major flood stage. It has come up over 5 feet. And with times of high tide, we've got exacerbated flooding, and that will happen again later on this evening. So a couple of high tide cycles for that particular location. And that, of course, is in Jamestown, Virginia, way up here. But there's Ophelia way down here. So you can see that we're seeing impacts far and wide from the center. It made that landfall just about 25 miles to the west-northwest of Cape Lookout, North Carolina. Not moving a whole lot, but it is moving somewhat, moving north-northwest at 9 miles per hour. Thankfully, now over land because the pressure had been dropping since the earlier advisory, which is always a signal that it could have been trying to strengthen up to hurricane force. But again, tropical storm conditions. You can see the center. This is the path that it will take, losing tropical characteristics by about this time. So later on tonight is when the Hurricane Center says it may not be a tropical storm any longer, but it's still going to be having a lot of impacts from the mid-Atlantic to the northeast with the heavy rain through the second half of our weekend. Here's a look at where the advisories are for now. It's still a hurricane watch for a place like Beaufort, North Carolina, Atlantic Beach. You've got the tropical storm warnings in effect for the eastern side of North Carolina, Virginia, and even southern portions of Maryland. We have some tidal flooding going on there as well. So here's a look at the outages, and it's especially here to the right of the center where it made landfall. That's where the majority of the outages have been so far this morning. So in just North Carolina, more than 36,000 customers, each customer representing a household or a business. Virginia also looking at nearly 17,000 customers that are in the dark this morning. So the wind potential is still with us, even though it's going to be weakening now that it's over land. The buoy reports offshore have shown us the strongest winds. Earlier, they were gusting around 81, 83 miles an hour, thankfully offshore. But as you can see, now that we bring our system in, we've got these winds at tropical storm condition or higher, 39 miles per hour, all the way up to 40 or 50 miles an hour as we bring our system northward into Virginia by overnight and into our Sunday. We're still going to have these impacts into the northeast, including places like Baltimore, D.C. with a wind advisory. But that wind could get even stronger for portions of the Jersey Shore and down to Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. Reynolds?
Okay, if you're just waking up, grab the coffee, have a seat, and let's get you up to speed. If you are just waking up, we got a lot going on with Ophelia. 4 million people find themselves under tropical alerts right now as Ophelia closes in on the East Coast. Virginia, Old Dominion State, and the Tar Heel State of North Carolina have declared states of emergency. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin has pre-positioned emergency crews to respond to anyone who gets into trouble as the storm roars ashore. Virginia Beach government has also opened city garages so people can protect their cars from the worst elements. It's not the rain they fear, it's about the rising water, and that's what they want to do, get those cars to higher ground. All right, someone who's been dealing with the full roar of all of it is our national correspondent, Justin Michaels. As always, we mentioned he's always in the middle of it, and sure enough, he's had his share of it. Things really, though, have changed in the last several hours, Justin, no question.
Well, Reynolds, you've been with me this entire trip as far as Ophelia goes coming ashore, and it's been amazing for, I'm sure, you and Kelly to watch meteorologically to see how the wind has changed direction is maybe the most telling tale of what we can show you here in Atlantic Beach. When we first got here earlier this morning, the wind was coming out of the east. It was an easterly wind pushing due west, okay? That is south. Now we have a southerly wind pushing due north. amazing to see the changing nature of this storm as it continues to push onshore. We had that landfall about an hour ago or so, and that wasn't far from where we're standing. So we've kind of been right in the center of all of this. Another thing we're looking at is storm surge. And in fact, as we talk about storm surge, take a look at this video from Davis, North Carolina. This was shot earlier this morning before the sun began to come up. And you can see that onshore push of the water. That is a very scary thing to see in person because that water is coming in off of the Atlantic and it's going to flood everything. So as far as the storm surge forecast goes, 2 to 4 feet on the coast, 4 to 6 feet inland. 4 to 6 feet inland. Now remember, storm surge is defined as water above normally dry ground. Imagine that. 6 feet of water where you typically would be standing on dry ground. That is the concern. Of course, coastal residents know their properties well enough to know exactly how these forecasts will impact them. And we have to believe there are plenty of people today who will be impacted. We talked to Bill Langston yesterday. He's a resident, a business owner here in Atlantic Beach, about the real concern about that storm surge. Listen.
That's the dangerous part for us is when it comes ashore at night.
Right.
And, we just can't really see what's going on.
Right.
You can get broken windows from tree limbs, trash cans flying, miscellaneous items like that. But,
right.
Yeah, going back to the business, though, it is financially hard on the community because this is a tourist-based business.
Right, of course. Yeah, you need people to be here, not checking out, but checking in.
That's right, we do. And hopefully everybody will come back as soon as the storm's over.
Well, we can tell you about the tourist impact here. We know that here on Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, even though we still have power here, you can see the lights going out the Oceanon Pier, not far south of where we are and far west of where we are because of the way this island is positioned. The power is out on most of this island, including in our hotel about 3 miles off to my left or off to the west. So definitely the power outage numbers are going up. We've watched them tick up every single time we hit refresh on our counter. In between North Carolina and into Virginia already, we're talking more than 50,000 customers. You can expect that number to continue to go up. Remember, saturated ground, tree limbs coming down, entire trees toppling over. Then we have the storm surge also along the coast, which will likely have a power impact as well, Reynolds. So a lot of issues present in tropical storm, Reynolds. As you well know, we've got those hurricane force gusts at the buoys offshore. So we definitely have a lot of power in this storm as it comes on shore as a tropical storm. And we still have that hurricane watch here as well, Reynolds, in Atlantic Beach and the tropical storm warning. So the story of Ophelia is nowhere near fully written. We still have a long way to go on the path of this storm. Reynolds,
my friend, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, we have a long way to go with this. There's no question. A lot of places that will be affected as we continue on with our maps is that we're going to have the issues along the coast, that's sure. But also think about so many of your rivers across parts of North Carolina and certainly into Virginia. You've got your, let's see, the Rappahannock, the Susquehanna. You've got the Potomac River, the James River, the Chickahominy River. You've got the Antietam. All those are going to be affected in some form or fashion by a variety of things. The surge you have along the coast, but also at the same time with the excessive rainfall that we anticipate over the next several minutes, hours, and possibly days. The numbers along the coast, some of these just seem somewhat sedate, like maybe a foot or so, but some of them really go up very quickly to the tune of, well, 1 to 3 to 2 to 4 to 4 to 6 in some locations. Even as far as south as, say, Myrtle Beach, we've got those numbers that will be going up. How has it been reflected in some of these gauges? Well, you'll notice at Oregon Inlet, and you also have it at, let's see, some spots up to about, well, really going up in a very big way. That's certainly the case in Dahlgren, back in Windmill Point, and we expect these numbers to only go up quite a bit. Kelly pointed this one out. She found this out during the commercial break, and she brought our attention to it. The James River in Jamestown. Sakes alive, folks, we are already in dealing with some serious flooding there, and that is a major issue that we're going to have, and things are going to get better before things get worse before they get better. Let's reverse that a bit. Into Solomon's Island and Bishop's Head, you see the numbers reflected there. Not a surprise. Probably one of the least surprising parts of this narrative is that we have all of these flood advisories that don't stay just in the Carolinas, but well into the Delmarva, back up into New Jersey, even places like, say, Philadelphia could be affected. Some of the coastal gauges and flood stage, you see them right there. The ones that are major, right along the James, not far from Williamsburg, or certainly near places like, let's see, that'd be Richmond. And what feeds into the James River? The Chickahominy. Okay, so the Chickahominy is going to be one of those that's going up too. So a lot of these will be affected and will go from possibly minor to moderate to major for days to come. Takes a while, and you've got a bit of a shoving match, and one of the reasons why is because all that wind is pushing in water that wants to go in one direction, right? And then you have the current that's trying to find its truth going out towards the Atlantic. So it is going to be a push and a shove between the two of them. High tide is something else you've got to watch. Morehead City, this could be the witching hour, right at 2:23. That's when that's going to go up considerably. We compare that to, let's see, on Sunday, your high tide is at 2:38. But one benefit you'll have is that center of circulation is going a bit more to the north, so conditions should be better. But it's going to be this afternoon. You got to keep a really sharp eye. Very quickly, Norfolk, high tide at 3:58, almost 4 o'clock. So wind versus water in a hurricane. Now, which one of those can be worse? Carl Parker explains.
When it comes to tropical systems, most people think of the wind first. Even look at the categories. The Saffir-Simpson scale is based on wind. But that's not the true measure of the strength of a storm and the number of fatalities it can cause. Roughly 90% of all deaths from a tropical cyclone are caused by water. These are the results of a study that looked at all Atlantic Basin systems that impacted the U.S. from 1963 to 2012. When you break it down further, storm surge is responsible for 49% of the deaths. Rainfall and flooding, 27%. In all, 1 out of every 5 or 6 Atlantic Basin cyclones caused loss of life. And in the 50 years of the study, about 2,500 people were killed. So heed the warnings from emergency managers when you are asked to evacuate, and have a plan.
All right, all good advice there. When it comes to water, it can be very dangerous. In fact, the most dangerous aspect of a storm. And so far this year, we've had a lot of deaths in the surf zone. So I'm going to talk about the ocean and what Ophelia is doing to the ocean, because we've had 34 deaths in Florida, a lot of them visitors from out of town in the Panhandle, and the majority of those deaths also from rip currents, which are still running high up and down the East Coast. Maybe not so much in the Northeast where you want to swim, but the East Coast of Florida dealing with the high rip current risk as well. So pay attention to your hazard flags. Yellow basically means use caution, high surf and rip currents out there. But the red flag is when you should really maybe not even bother going in the water. It is just too dangerous, especially if you're not a strong swimmer. And a double red flag, swimming is prohibited. Those beaches closed down. You could even get fined in certain locations. So definitely pay attention. The flags are important. They mean something. They're trying to tell you to stay out. We don't want to put other people at risk going out there to try to save you either. You can see the high risk across the east side of Florida. Of course, North Carolina, where the weather's terrible anyway. You don't want to get out in the water. And all the way up into southern New England, Long Island Sound, we've got some high surf and rip current action. There are your high surf advisories stretching from the Outer Banks all the way up to the Jersey Shore, and again around Long Island as well. The wind interacting with the water, sending the waves out. So even though we have a landfall, we still have the wave action. It takes a while for it to calm down. And you can see with Ophelia moving northward, the wave action moves northward as well. By 5 o'clock, it is pounding the boardwalk here in Atlantic City, New Jersey, out towards Montauk and Cape Cod by early tomorrow morning. And then eventually we will see those swells begin to die down. But overall, we're talking about some 10 to 15, even up to 20 feet breakers out there. So again, not a good time to be taking out the boat either. So Reynolds, you know, the weather, there's all kinds of hazards when it comes to a tropical system. Yeah. So what if it wasn't a hurricane, right?
That's right.
It's a high-end tropical storm and you still have a lot of impacts with it.
Oh yeah, we've had loss of life before with just tropical depressions.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
you're always going to watch these. Folks, also something to point out is that whenever we tell you that there is a dying boundary or a lingering front over parts of the Gulf Coast or Central or South Florida, and you have to be really wary, this is what we're talking about. Yeah, because that's exactly what this was over portions of Florida a very short while ago. In fact, last week we had models, the USGFS model was showing this very scenario playing out. So kudos to the American model. It's amazing how it plays out. This morning, if you were tuning in from, say, Sharpsburg, Maryland, did you ever think that a week or so ago you would have some tropical rain moving in your community? How about that? Isn't that something? Or Harper's Ferry this morning. You've got some rain coming in, compliments of this system. It's just staggering. Something else that's happening, which is not a surprise to us in the slightest, is that we have another flash flood warning that's in effect. Let's zoom right in on this location. And this is, let's see, bear with me. The counties, you see them listed there, the cities of Emerald Isle, Piney Green, and Swansboro. That's going to be in effect until about 9 o'clock. That could be extended. We extend our view up northward, and we see more of the problem for the counties of Craven and Jones, cities of Havelock, James City, New Bern. That's going to be until 11 o'clock. Okay, there's going to be a conga line of this moisture, which is generally going to move in this direction and then eventually veer back out to sea. But all along the journey that it takes, you've got more problems with the rising water, and with it, the chance of some flooding that for many of you is already a reality. Seeing some skies clearing right there in the shot below, but we still have a lot of storminess on the way. Be ready for it. Coverage continues after this.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers, MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
When Caroline has a cough, she takes Robitussin, so she can have those one-on-ones again.
Hey, Jim. Hey. Can we talk about your yoga breaks?
Sure. Get fast, powerful cough relief with Robitussin and find your voice.
Robitussin. Now we're voyaging. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, chameleon. Come and go. You come and go.
It's back. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein, 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar. Enter the $10,000 Powered by Protein Max Challenge.
Introducing New Starry Lemon Lime Soda. Music to my ears.
You don't have ears.
Starry, it's different.
Hey, Peyton. Thanks for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saves Slider Sunday again!
Wow. Here we go. Perfect King's Hawaiian slider. Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
The celebration of our wondrous Earth continues with back-to-back episodes of Secrets of the Earth, starting tonight at 8/7 Central, only on the Weather Channel.
Help!
When you fall and can't get help,
Help!
you will lie on the floor for hours or days in constant, terrible anguish, which often results in a tragic outcome. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether at home,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
or on the go.
Help! I'm in the park and I can't get up.
And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-910-1964. That's 1-800-910-1964. Call now. 1-800-910-1964.
The Weather Channel, now available to everyone.
This is epic!
Trusted live coverage when it matters most is now yours to stream with the Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and maps that let you track all the action. Exclusive storm coverage to keep you informed, landfall cameras and live interactive chats with our weather experts, and so much more. There's never been a better way for everyone to watch the Weather Channel. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
Okay. Thank you for staying with us live here as Ophelia has now made landfall, continues to push inland, causing major problems here on the North Carolina coast and well inland into this state and even into Virginia. Good morning to you. I'm Justin Michaels. We have seen great changes in how this storm has performed here in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina throughout the course of this morning. When we first got here this morning, we had an easterly wind, so wind blowing due east off to the west. Then we had it switch around. It's been going around us. It's been interesting to see that. We had a southerly wind for quite a while, moving off to the north. Now we have a south by southwesterly wind pushing off to the north-northeast. In fact, a good way to see it, do you see the red flag, the flag indicator over there telling you to stay off the beach? It's coming and blowing from the south-southwest. Amazing to see that, and amazing to see how things have changed. Now that we have that onshore flow, we know that we're going to have some more storm surge issues. And in fact, Harker's Island, which is just near Cape Lookout, very close to where we had landfall from Ophelia this morning, storm surge inundation there, a major problem. You can see the video we have in new to the Weather Channel to show you the streets there and the real issues from the storm surge flooding that is ongoing. We know the storm surge warning is in place, a tropical storm warning. We have a hurricane watch in place, and there are major issues presenting along the coast and well inland because of that storm surge. We caught up with Trace Cooper, who is the mayor here in Atlantic Beach. We talked to him yesterday. We're going to be getting with him later this morning about current conditions on his island. But yesterday he was talking about the real issues that set up before a storm and during a storm because of storm surge. Listen.
It's a little bit ironic that the island towns tend to do better in these types of storms than some of the low-lying mainland towns. It's just, we're standing on the beach, but we're already at 8 or 9 feet above sea level where we are, whereas across the sound, there's some places that are 2 and 3. So storm surge has a bigger impact over there than it will here on the island.
So that again, Trace Cooper, the mayor here in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. And again, we will be speaking with him later, ideally live here on the Weather Channel. He's been very forthcoming with information. I want to point something else out to you. Looking out the Oceanan Pier, you can see how the waves are coming in off the Atlantic and coming directly north right now. I will tell you that wave activity is nothing like what we saw yesterday leading into this storm when Ophelia was still quite offshore. The wave activity was actually going all the way up to the deck boards on this pier, the Oceanan Pier. Extraordinary to see the changes, but we still have a very powerful storm. Power outage numbers continue to go up, not just here in North Carolina, but also already into Virginia. And you can expect that to continue throughout the course of this day. We have more than 50,000 customers without power so far. Expect that number to go up, including right here on Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, where we do not have power for much of this island. Now, the good news is you can see lights out there on the pier. So at least here on the island, the power is on. Farther west and south of where we are on the island, it is out. So just be prepared for that. Remember, good generator placement. Keep it as far away from your home as possible so it vents properly. We talk about it every single year. People dying because of carbon monoxide poisoning in their own homes because those generators are too close and it vents into their home. Kelly and Reynolds, we don't want to be talking about that in this storm or any others for that matter. Right. So let's hope people are using good generator safety, using flashlights, not candles. The good thing is we have the light of day now. So as far as the rest of the storm for this part of the country, it shouldn't be an issue, but still, just make sure those generators are far from your home. Guys, into you.
Very well said.
Very good advice, Justin. We want everybody to be careful during the storm, but of course after the storm as well. And by the way, with Ophelia, we can also get, sometimes isolated tornadoes. And just moments ago, a tornado warning was issued here in North Carolina.
Absolutely. Let's get right to it. And one thing I mentioned, I know that we may have an active flooding situation in some spots. We always tell people to go to the lowest floor. Go to the lowest, safest floor.
Right.
You can't.
Interior room, away from windows and exterior doors. Kind of scanning the radar for you right now, showing you where the heavier rain bands are around Elizabeth City. So this tornado warning is near that area for, I think it's Chowan County. We've got Gates as well. Seek shelter. It's moving northwest at 35 miles an hour.
Absolutely. And these tend to be rain wraps, so it's very difficult to just step outside Elizabeth City and see it. Yep, there you go.
Where you see the bright green just on the western side of Elizabeth City, that's where I think the Weather Service is seeing some possible rotation within a rain band. So could be rain wrapped, very difficult to see. Don't wait to see it. Don't even look for it. You want to seek shelter immediately if you live in this area.
Friends and neighbors, this is just part of the day. This is going to be something we're going to deal with for quite a while. Again, it's a system that's going to start weakening, but still has a lot of power, a lot of pop with it, Kelly.
Yeah, flash flood warnings for the Crystal Coast of North Carolina as well, where we've already had 1 to 3 inches of rain, another 1 to 3 on the way, as we now have Ophelia on shore and moving north very slowly.
NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. Go to netcredit.com. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. Say what you say, but give me that bomb beat from Dre. Let me serenade the streets of LA. From Oakland to Sacktown, the Bay Area and back down. Cali is where they put they mag down. Give me your
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser powers through tough messes.
So it makes it look like I spent hours cleaning. And no, I didn't.
It makes my running shoe look like new. It's amazing.
Wow. It makes it look like I don't have kids at all.
It's so good. It makes it look like I have magical powers.
With 80% less scrubbing, Mr. Clean Magic Eraser makes cleaning easy. Also available in sheets.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If your thyroid eye disease was diagnosed a long, long time ago, you may think your eyes will be bulging forever. Like a never-ending curse that can't be broken. But even if you've been told it's too late, treating your thyroid eye disease may still be possible. And a new day is within sight. Learn how you could give your eyes a fresh start at stilltreatted.com.
Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Non-drowsy Claritin knocks out symptoms from over 200 allergens without knocking you out. Feel the clarity and make today the most wonderful time of the year. Live Claritin Clear.
We're not writers, but we help you shape your financial story. We're not an airline, but our network connects global businesses across nearly 160 markets. We're not a startup, but our innovation labs use new technologies to help keep your information secure. We're not architects, but we help build stronger communities. We're not just any bank, we are Citi.
It's unbelievable!
Hundreds of millions of lives impacted.
Look at the wind howling through here.
Tens of thousands of live reports where the weather is happening.
Yeah, this is extreme.
Thousands of storms forecasted, 40 years of storytelling, 22 specialized and advanced field degrees, 7 innovative weather presentation patents, and a former National Hurricane Center director. One trusted best-in-class expert team. America's most trusted news network, the Weather Channel.
All right, we are still following a tornado warning here in North Carolina. These outer rain bands spinning around Ophelia, causing severe weather just to the west of Elizabeth City, Reynolds.
Yes, indeed, Kelly. And this is not a surprise. This does happen when you have landfalling tropical systems. Not uncommon at all to have tornadoes form. And it looks like due west of Parkville, maybe, Kelly?
Yeah, I see the brighter green showing up there. So basically your Doppler radar is showing you the green with winds going toward the radar site. Shades of red typically going away. So a little bit of a couplet showing up there. It's not that clear, not that evident, but still you want to seek shelter immediately if you live in these areas west of Parkville. This cell moving toward the northwest at 35 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness, but it's more than this. You've got the wind damage. You've got that's inevitable. You have also the rising water in terms of flooding. A couple of flood warnings a bit more to the south, and I think these are just part and parcel of what you're going to deal with the landfalling system. This too is also another feature.
Yeah, power has been going out, especially along the Crystal Coast where the landfall occurred in North Carolina. Nearly 34,000 customers without power, 19,000 in Virginia, and we do expect those numbers to fluctuate, possibly go higher as we go through the day.
Wow, they have popped. Yeah, from around the neighborhood of 80,000 to 90. Yeah, they've gone up.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to continue to see this. Okay, if you're tuning in just now, you just woke up and you're wondering if it made landfall. It did. And Kelly, we've got the particulars for you.
And it was so close to becoming a hurricane, you guys. We're talking about 70-mile-per-hour winds near Emerald Isle in North Carolina. Pressure was 981, and that had been dropping since the previous advisory, a sign that Ophelia was trying to increase in intensity before it made landfall.
Now, what we expect as we go forward, those numbers, at least the pressure is going to start going up as it's away from its primary power source, that being the warm water, but still poses a lot of threats with winds.
It's really top heavy, too. A lot of the heavy rain on the northern side extending all the way up through the mid-Atlantic, even though the center is still way down here to the south. And those winds eventually weaken, but, you know, even though it loses tropical characteristics by tonight, it's still going to pack a punch for a lot of areas.
During one of our commercial breaks, Kelly discovered something that to me is still mind-boggling. Okay, so you have a lot of the action down towards Morehead City. Kelly found some gauges near Richmond on the James River that are going up in a very big way near Jamestown.
At the ferry terminal, flood stage on the James River is now over 5 feet. So it has reached major flood stage, and that's, again, in southern Virginia, right up around here. We do have tropical storm warning showing up in the red all the way up into southern Maryland.
Back to the power outages again, 92,000, where Justin Michaels has been live this morning. They've got a number of outages in that region. I think we're going to see that going forward in time, and the buoy reports have been pretty incredible.
Yeah, earlier this morning, there were winds up and over 80 miles an hour offshore, thankfully, but even the onshore winds, it's enough to push the water, to drive in that storm surge. As you can see, the winds are in a counterclockwise fashion, so that's why we're seeing that flooding along the James River right now.
Okay, so you got the Delmarva, and all this water wants to go out into the Atlantic. Meanwhile, this is going to push in the opposite direction, so it is going to be a mosh pit out there. I mean, get really careful out there, no question.
And right about here, of course, we have Justin Michaels. He is out there at Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, where, you know, you had the winds going from one direction earlier this morning before the sun came up, and then the wind shifted in direction. So, Justin, now that we have daylight, what are you seeing out there in terms of wave action and storm surge flooding?
Right. Well, let's look out the Oceanon Pier right now, and we'll show you the wave activity. It's definitely a rough sea out there, not someplace you'd want to be spending any time today. And, of course, I haven't seen any surfers out there, whereas yesterday we saw probably a dozen surfers or more out in those waters. Not today, and that is a very good thing. So the sea is certainly churned up, and that is expected as the storm came ashore earlier today. I want to show you some video shot by our very own Mike Seidel. Truly 3 miles, exactly 3 miles to the 10th from where we're standing right now, off to our west at our hotel. You can see Mike describing this as the eye wall coming through. We experienced it too here, but some extraordinary video shot by Mike Seidel as Ophelia continued to push through and the eye wall was impacting us here in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. We're always grateful whenever any of our team can shoot video, and this coming from meteorologist Mike Seidel. So it gives you a sense of the power of the winds. We were experiencing them here as well, and you heard Kelly as she was sending it to us in the field how the wind has changed direction. Earlier today, it was an easterly wind coming directly off my right shoulder, pushing off to the left, okay, pushing off to the west. Now it's almost a southwesterly wind pushing off to the northeast. Amazing how the wind has really shifted, not doing a full 180, but certainly moving quite in a different direction. Take a look at the red flag, the warning flag on the beach out there. It's difficult to see which way it's pointing because it's pointing right at us in this direction. So that, again, an indication that these conditions are certainly dangerous. You don't need the flag to tell you that, but certainly it's a good way to see it. As we get closer to a commercial break, just know power outage numbers are going up. The storm surge threat is also continuing. 4 to 6 feet is the forecast inland. The Weather Channel has more live coverage of Ophelia as the storm pushes inland, causing problems. We're back after this.
Kelly needs new floors.
I need new floors.
So she went to the flooring experts at LL Flooring, and it was as easy as 1, 2, 3, floor. Nice one, Kelly. LL Flooring, every step covered.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet?
Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive contains ALA to relieve nerve aches and B-complex vitamins to fortify healthy nerves. Try Nervive and try Nervive Pain Relieving Roll-On.
Travis, did you know you can get this season's COVID-19 shot when you get your flu shot?
Two things at once.
Two things at once! Two things at once!
I'll have the 2 things at once, please.
Now back to 2 things at once.
2 things at once.
That's not 2 things at once.
Mom!
Travis, ask about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare. There for what matters.
Bathfitter is a better way to remodel your tub. Precise measuring means the perfect fit. The Bathfitter tub-over-tub process means no mess or stress. A custom-made tub and seamless wall mean a watertight fit. Premium acrylic means it lasts a lifetime. And all this together means a great value. Bathfitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
Every day, businesses everywhere are asking,
is it possible?
With Comcast Business, it is.
Is it possible to use predictive monitoring to address operations issues?
We can help with that.
Can we provide healthcare virtually anywhere?
We can help with that too.
Is it possible to survey foot traffic across all of our locations?
Yeah, absolutely. With the advanced connectivity and intelligence of global secure networking from Comcast Business, it's not just possible, it's happening.
Welcome to Stormy Heights, where the windows are always Pella, because the weather is always changing. Pella's fiberglass is the strongest material for windows and patio doors. They're tested from -40 degrees Fahrenheit up to 160. The fiberglass frame is even scratch and dent resistant. Pella Windows.
Save on replacement windows by Pella now.
Your dog is the one you wanted. You want what's best for them. So, ask your vet about new NexGard Plus. It's one-and-done monthly protection from fleas and ticks, plus heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms, all in a delicious beef-flavored soft chew. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. From the maker of #1 vet-recommended HeartGuard Plus, NexGard Plus, the one you want for one-and-done protection.
Travel, there is nothing like it.
Dancing is my passion.
But with my moderate to severe eczema, it hasn't been easy.
Now, I'm staying ahead of it.
Dupixent helps heal your skin from within, so you can have clearer skin and noticeably less itch. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about Dupixent.
All right, breaking now, we still have a tornado warning that we are monitoring here at the Weather Channel. It's going for another few minutes. We'll see if the Weather Service keeps it going or not, but they're seeing rotation, right? We see that red polygon. This is to the west of Elizabeth City and not too far from Mittensville. So this is where you want to seek shelter. These bands are moving, by the way, from east to west at about 35 miles an hour.
Yes, indeed. Heavy rain, probably rain wrapped, as a matter of fact. So very hard to see along parts of, say, 158, 32, or if you're driving to Gatesville on 37, but there's the spot where we have that possible rotation and the possible tornado, Kelly.
Right. So for another 7 minutes or so, this warning goes until about 7:30. So you definitely need to seek shelter in places like Hobbsville, Mittensville, Carter in the path of this storm. As again, it's racing toward the northwest at 35 miles an hour. Very difficult to see. So get down as low as you can go in your home, business, away from the windows and exterior doors. Seek shelter, because there could be a possible tornado spinning up at any moment.
Oh, you're so right about that. When we say as low as you possibly can go, that's because we do have a situation where there is some rising water. Flooding has been occurring in parts of the region, so just be ready. Well, flags flapping in the wind field of Ophelia in Nags Head, North Carolina.
Wow.
We have several alerts in the region there, Kelly.
Yeah, tropical storm warnings are still in effect, fueling a flood watch. We've got a high surf advisory. So many hazards when it comes to any tropical system interacting with land. You have the possibility of severe weather. You've got rainwater flooding, storm surge flooding, all possibilities as we go throughout our Saturday.
Yes, indeed. Now, it has officially made landfall, and we've had it as a very strong tropical storm, winds of 70 miles an hour, Kelly.
It was trying to become a hurricane, you guys. The pressure was dropping from one advisory to the next. So officially winds were 70, making it a high-end tropical storm, making that landfall right there at Emerald Isle, North Carolina.
It's interesting. If this had had maybe another hour over open water, I think we would have had a minimal hurricane. I think it would have easily happened.
So it's on shore right now, and you can see it's moving toward the north-northwest at 9 miles per hour. Not moving very quickly, but at least it's moving, right? And it'll eventually, of course, you can see the cloud shield spreading all the way through Pennsylvania and the lower parts of New York. But the rain eventually catches up with this thing, too. As we lose tropical characteristics, you can see the path it takes later on tonight.
A path over very populated areas, including possibly D.C., moving into the Jersey Shore, perhaps even Philadelphia.
So for now, these are your tropical storm warnings. A hurricane watch have been issued for portions of the Crystal Coast of North Carolina, just in case we saw those hurricane force winds. But these are the highest wind reports that we've seen so far, generally under 70 miles an hour.
And remember, that's just where we have the instrumentation. Is there a chance you could have had a spot where you had maybe 70, even stronger? Certainly possible.
Yeah, I mean, some of the buoy reports just offshore of North Carolina were gusting as high as 81, 83 miles an hour. Oh, that number just jumped, didn't it?
That's what you said earlier. Yeah, we had it around 80, and Kelly was saying these numbers are going to go up, and she's absolutely right. We're approaching 100,000 at this hour. I think we're going to pass that.
Yeah, so 40,000 just in North Carolina, and that represents customers. And you can have several people in those households, and you can see the wind reports. They've been strongest at some of these buoys because the stronger winds are on that right side or the eastern side of the storm. But still, even up toward Raleigh, it's a north wind gusting to 33 miles an hour.
Yes, indeed. And it's going to have quite a bit of muscle to it. A lot of problems, a lot of issues, power outages. We mentioned those, but also travel delays. I think you can expect those at your airports.
So we are expecting to see widespread power outages as Ophelia continues its push inland.
Home expert Danny Liverd has some recommendations to keep your family safe after the storm passes.
Now, when you get back, let's make sure everybody's safe there. First thing, you want to check your electrical coming into your home. And you can see if you have overhead, you need to make sure the mast or wherever the electrical hooks to your house is nice and secure. If you see anything at all, call that power company. Same for any gas smell that you may have. Turn your gas off, call the gas company immediately. They want to know about it. And if you're using one of these, and I hope not, because that means you have no electricity, use it safely. Make sure you turn it off completely. Allow it to cool down a bit before you refuel it, and always use it outside, never in a garage or a carport or anywhere near any open window or door. We've got to stay safe with these things until the power's back on.
And coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern time this morning, we'll have meteorologist Paul Goodloe. He'll join us live from Norfolk, Virginia, which is also in the path of Ophelia.
Oh, yes. And the conditions that you've seen along parts of the coast, you're going to see them up and down, well, possibly even into New Jersey and beyond. But as it stands, the Delmarva certainly affected. You've got the storm surge warnings. You've got the watches. Big area we're referring to.
Yeah, and we've already had flooding along the James River in Virginia, well away from the center, which is still down here. So take those storm surge warnings very seriously. We're talking about inundation of have salt water above normally dry ground. Anywhere along the coastline, we could see, 3, 4, even 5 feet of storm surge flooding.
Yeah, the natural flow of all these rivers goes out to the Atlantic, but around the center of circulation, you've got it just kind of pushing back and forth.
Yeah,
So it's going
the
to be
battle of the current from the river and then the wind from the storm. Not a good combination. And of course, there's that 4 to 6 feet, not along the entire coastline, but somewhere along that coast, we could see that kind of water rise.
Okay, so we've had it going up, at least in Oregon Inlet. I think all these are going to do basically the same thing.
Yeah, so we'll keep a close eye, especially at times of high tide. In a place like the James River, it's not just this morning's high tide, but this evening that will be affected. This is your river gauge here. Previous record, by the way, 6.27, but now we are in major flood now that we've reached that 5-foot threshold.
And we're also seeing it right now in spots like Solomon's Island, Bishop's Head, not too slight. But this is just the beginning. We're going to see this, again, possibly increase.
Some of these smaller bays and estuaries really seeing that squeeze of water coming up shore. The Weather Channel streaming app has you covered with our Tracking Tropics special stream from storm surge to future radars. Live stream to help keep you informed throughout the day. You can download it today at streamtwc.com.
Who do you think taps out first?
I think the duck goes the distance.
All right, you about ready to get out? What's this? A hospital bill for $1,000? Did this guy just say Gap?
He's talking about expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
But with Aflac, you can get money to help close that gap.
Aflac, huh? Aflac! Okay.
Oh, duck 1, goat 0.
Get help with expenses health insurance doesn't cover at Aflac.com.
You want to race?
For real?
Did we just get hustled? There's no way they were 70.
Interesting. It's both an electric and a gas car.
Yep.
Quite the paradox.
So JJ's for lunch?
The first ever Lexus RX plug-in hybrid. Electric for short trips, gas for long. It really is both.
Come on, chameleon. You come and go, you come and go. Loving will be easy because you like my dream. Red, gold, and green.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers, MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
Does this look familiar? You probably think this is what owning hearing aids would be like. Let me tell you, there's a better way. The Atom by Audion Hearing. The all-new Audion Atom is the world's first wireless charging hearing aid under $100. The Atom comes with an easy-to-use wireless charging dock. Plus, the Atom has a 22% smaller design, so it's nearly invisible when worn in the ear. That's why we have over 250,000 happy customers. Each pair has a 45-day money-back guarantee, so there is zero risk in trying them.
Call 1-800-783-8955. That's 1-800-783-8955. Call 1-800-783-8955 or go to audionhearing.com to get your pair of Audion Atom hearing aids for only $99.
All week long, explore our extraordinary planet.
Out of this world experience.
Tune in and witness some of the Earth's greatest wonders.
This is so beautiful.
We might be looking at crystals from another world.
All week long, starting at 8/7 Central, only on the Weather Channel.
Here we go.
All right, we have an update on the tornado warning that we've been tracking with one of the rain bands associated with Tropical Storm Ophelia. It's way up here in the northern parts of North Carolina, actually an extension. So we've got not only Chowan County, but Gates and Hertford counties involved as well. This tornado warning now goes until 8:15, and it's moving toward the west at about 30 miles an hour. Rotation being noted there somewhere just west of Mintonsville. So you want to seek shelter immediately away from windows as low as you can go in your home or business. It's located right near the town of Ryland or over Hobbsville, and it's moving in the general direction of Ballard Crossroads and also Stories by about 8:12 if it holds together. So seek shelter, seeing some rotation there, and flash flooding, Reynolds, down toward the Crystal Coast of North Carolina where we saw that landfall.
Oh, yes, a lot of moving parts this morning, no doubt about it. With the rising water and the threat of tornadoes, we also have possibly other types of wind damage. Much of that is causing power outages up and down the region. Earlier this morning, Kelly, we had around 80,000 customers of that power. That number has gone up considerably over the last hour or so. All right, let's give you an idea of what's happening on the coast, and for that, we'll take you coast side, where Justin Michaels has had just quite the morning. Earlier today, it was otherworldly. Wind and rain coming in sideways. Now a different view, and still quite treacherous.
Well, Reynolds and Kelly, I want to show you about these power outage issues. Take a look. We have a power pole that has been snapped off. An explosion happened right there at that junction, and you can see the power line and power pole is now on fire and teetering up there back and forth. The fire department has closed this area off. They said we're safe where we are, but we can't cross under those lines. They are high-tension power lines that run east and west here on the island, and they're very concerned that that could let go at any moment. It's kind of remarkable to see a power pole like that, but when if you're watching us right now somewhere along Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, wondering, hey, why is the power out? If you're watching us on your cell phone or whatever other app you might have, that's the culprit right there. Amazing to see how that's teetering. Again, those high tension lines and the power pole on fire. On fire. Truly a remarkable thing to see. Just one of the many issues presenting here along the North Carolina coast. So as those power numbers go up, remember, issues like that are happening all over the place. Dangerous. Remember, we're not going to be driving under those. We're basically trapped at this point because that's the only main road. So in order for us to get out, the power company's got to come in, get that problem taken care of. The fire department is stopping traffic and not allowing anybody through at this point. So again, as the storm pushes through, these issues are going to present. Power lines are going to come down, trees are going to come down, branches are going to come down. But also from this perspective, we can show you something else. Taking a look off at the distance, Marshall, I know it's a little difficult to hold the camera because of the wind, but you can see some of the storm surge inundation. Now, what you're looking at is the channel that separates Atlantic Beach, which is an island, from the mainland. So the land you see back there in those homes, that is the mainland. That's mainland North Carolina. Then we've got the channel here in between the island and that, and you can see how high that water is here on the island. Can't imagine how much higher it might be over there on the mainland in places like Morehead City and Beaufort and different communities that are on coastal North Carolina, not on one of the islands. But still, that storm surge is an issue. We know the storm surge forecasting from the National Hurricane Center is showing 4 to 6 feet of storm surge inland, 2 to 4 out here on the coast. And of course, that is defined as water above normally dry ground, Kelly. So we've got a long way to go as far as this storm goes. And I will tell you, Kelly, as we send it back into you, we've got a long way to go, because we have no idea how much longer we're going to be trapped here because of these precariously hanging power lines. But I have to tell you, Kelly, when we were talking about that explosion I saw earlier and the sparks we saw, now we know where they came from, Kelly. Into you.
That has to be it, Justin. What you were looking at, what you were referring to earlier when it was still dark out there, but now we can clearly see an issue with that power pole. Hopefully nobody goes anywhere near it. If you've got down power lines, just treat them as they were live, stay far, far away from them, and hopefully the crews can get out there and take care of that before we see any more issues with the wind, of course, carrying any flames that might happen as a result. So there's that tornado warning. We've got a rain band that's affecting us northern North Carolina. There's the center right on shore, made that landfall landfall at 6:15 this morning, right along the Crystal Beach here, and you still have the heavy rainfall rates right near the center of circulation. So flash flood warning still for Craven and Jones. This goes until 11 o'clock Eastern time. Rainfall rates anywhere from 1 to 3 inches per hour. And we've already seen 1 to 3 inches so far. So look at the rain extending all the way northward into Pennsylvania, New Jersey as well, even though the center is way down here, kind of a top-loaded storm, I would say, with all these rain bands. It could get heavy at times, bringing up the winds, but also bringing in the severe weather. We can't rule out the future isolated tornadoes spinning up from the system as it continues to go from south to north, only getting into southern Virginia by later on tonight. So really not moving all that quickly. And we're going to be dealing with the impacts of Ophelia even after it's no longer a tropical system, but really just a rainmaker by tonight into tomorrow morning. So flash flooding, anywhere you see the green is possible. Highlighted the yellow right here. That is where we're likely to see flash flooding in portions of Virginia, North Carolina, and then again tomorrow, even into Monday morning. Southern New England, New York City, Long Island, down to New Jersey. A lot more rain is still to come. So you could actually have severe weather and flooding going on at the same time. So seek shelter as soon as that happens. We'll be right back.
How about 80s music?
Yeah, lots.
Text from Mom. Good luck on your date. She looks like a keeper. Exclamation point.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Text from Mom. Did you borrow Dad's foot spray? Text from Mom. Does she come from money? Hashtag Sugar Mama. Text from Mom. Text from Mom. Text from Mom.
Whoa.
Text from Mom. Bride emoji. Groom emoji. Baby emoji.
Tostitos Hardy Dippers.
Hey, Peyton. Thanks for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saved Slider Sunday again! Wow. Here we go. Perfect King's Hawaiian slider. Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. Go to netcredit.com. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
A new arrival alarms the brotherhood of muscle. Muscular features signal power and performance. Attributes they've never seen in this build. Behold, a new breed. Ready to swarm. Ready to sting. Ready to electrify. The defiant, power-packed, all-new hybrid electric Dodge Hornet RT. Performance electrified.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Well, it's a story not just of where it happened to be, but also where it's going to go. Good morning and welcome to America's Weekend Headquarters. I'm meteorologist Reynolds Wolf.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Cass. Tropical Storm Ophelia made that landfall this morning along the coast of North Carolina, but we're standing on the track where it's going from here, all the way up toward the mid-Atlantic, and that's why behind us you see these tropical storm warnings in effect all the way up into New Jersey this morning.
That's right. It's going to be a tremendous, affecting so many people. In fact, up to 15 million people affected in some form or fashion.
And I'm meteorologist Paul Goodlow live in Norfolk, Virginia, where we had winds gusting over 50 miles per hour last night and also tidal flooding. The water is going down, but we're still seeing rain, showers, sunshine, and the risk for tornadoes. We have more coming up in a live report.
All right, Paul, thanks so much. It's a top-loaded system, so expect that heavy rain to eventually fill in where you are. We've already had rain going sideways here in Surf City, North Carolina. This is where we have a flood watch, high surf advisory in effect as Ophelia moves closer and closer to this location. But it did make a landfall, so right now kind of sitting on the coastline and moving at a relatively slow pace, only at about 9 miles per hour. There's Surf City, where the surf certainly is up this morning, up to the pier there. So not a good day to be out in the water or really anywhere near the water. Just stay away for today. So here is a look at the landfall information happening at 6:15 Eastern time this morning. Landfall near Emerald Isle, North Carolina is a high-end tropical storm. It was trying to get hurricane status. We saw those gusts a little bit higher at some buoy reports just offshore, but officially with winds of 70 miles an hour and the pressure 981 millibars. So again, we're going to continue to see the impacts from Ophelia as it continues to work its way inland across North Carolina and not even really reaching up into Virginia until later on this evening. So that's how slow it is moving. The winds have been knocked down to about 65 miles per hour, so still packing a punch. Remember, for severe winds and a severe thunderstorm warning, all you need are 58-mile-per-hour winds for damage to start. And we've already seen some power outages, especially here in North Carolina and up into Virginia. Losing tropical characteristics as we move our system northward through Virginia overnight tonight, and it's affecting the rest of the mid-Atlantic by tomorrow. And it's no longer going to be tropical storm Ophelia at that point. However, it is still going to have the strong winds as well as the heavy rain and even coastal flooding concerns. Tropical storm warnings remain in effect. No longer hurricane watch with the latest advisory. They took that down for the Crystal Coast of North Carolina, so that is some good news. The bad news is, though, more and more of you are losing your power, which each and every hour. North Carolina leading the list here, but now we're talking about more than 100,000 customers in all these states here representing where the electricity has gone off. And we do expect that number to rise as we get the winds to rise. Moving the system northward through Virginia, you'll notice that with these rain bands that extend well from the center, you can have tropical storm force winds of at least 39 miles an hour, and that's enough to possibly cause some big limbs to come down, even trees to come down, especially if it's saturated ground. And you can see the storm where it's going to be by later on tonight, moving across northern Virginia and eventually the rest of the Northeast as we progress through our Sunday. In the meantime, the wind will be howling out there. We got wind advisories in effect for D.C., Baltimore, even a high wind warning in effect for portions of the Delaware, New Jersey coastline. So those winds could exceed 50, even 60 miles an hour, not out of the question. That's that darker red that you see on our future map here with the winds increasing from south to north, going into the afternoon time frame, up the Jersey Shore into New York City. Good luck with the flights, by the way. Likely to see delays, if not cancellations, later tonight and certainly into our Sunday. And those winds will increase even across southern New England. So with a lot of you losing power, hopefully before you lose the power, you're watching us right now, because here are some safety tips. We don't want anybody to get in trouble with generators. You want to make sure you use them outside. They need to be well ventilated, plenty of space around them. Don't plug them into walls, and turn the generator on before you plug those appliances into it. Just a lot of common sense here, but Reynolds, a lot of times we do see problems with generator use after a storm goes by.
So true. Very good, very valuable advice. Well, we know it's Saturday morning. Many of you just waking up, so let's get you up to speed with what's happening with Ophelia. 4 million people find themselves under tropical alerts at this hour as Ophelia closes in. It's actually made landfall on the East Coast. Both Virginia and North Carolina have declared states of emergency. In fact, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin has pre-positioned emergency crews to respond to anyone who gets in trouble. The storm now moving inland, and we are going to have many effects, no doubt. The Virginia Beach government has actually opened city garages, so with the rising water, people are able to protect their cars from some of the worst elements. Now, let's send it over to Paul Goodlow, my friend and yours. He is in Norfolk with us this morning. Paul, one of the big stories we've had this morning have been the rising number in terms of power outages. Any issues in your location?
Where I am right now, no, but there's still thousands of people waking up this morning without power. So the air has also changed. Last night we were here with a lot of rain bands coming through. It was a colder rain. Dew point is a little lower, temperatures are lower. Now we're starting to feel the tropical part of Tropical Storm Ophelia here. Our dew points are now in low 70s, so it's air you can wear, even though temperatures are still not that warm. But we're seeing even some patches of blue sky here, some sunshine, but also some moderate to heavy showers coming through. So it's a mixed bag here, and we're in the Hague area, and I'm standing kind of in the high water debris line from some of the tidal flooding last night. We had high tide just after 3 a.m. and this area, this body of water is called the Hague. It kind of flows into the Elizabeth River, came up here. In fact, this dumpster behind me was dislodged from that little kind of wood storage area where the dumpster was. So you can imagine even an hour ago we had a lot more water covering this road behind me here, but it's been slowly receding. So this area normally floods when you have some king tides or higher tides, so it wasn't unexpected here, and to have the flooding just up to where this is pretty good for this event, because that was some of the big concerns. There's so much water around the Hampton Roads kind of tidewater area here in Virginia. This is one reason why there's a huge Navy presence here, because we have the Elizabeth River, we have the Chesapeake Bay, we have the Atlantic Ocean. We're literally maybe 16, 17 miles from Virginia Beach as the crow flies. So water and rising sea levels has been an ongoing concern for this area. So to have Tropical Storm Ophelia still bring this surge, storm surge, and the tidal flooding with high tide. And by the way, the expected high tide was going to be maybe 6.5 feet. It came in just below 6 feet. So that's a win when it wasn't as high as forecasted. So perhaps this water in other areas is not as high as it could have been. Yes, there has been some flooding, some cars stalled out, but it's kind of a low-level event, which is some great news for this area here. I think that the benchmark is Hurricane Isabel about 10 years ago, so to not have it that high is some great news. The winds, though, still gusty, and that could be preventing some of the power crews from getting the bucket trucks up to bring the power lines and power back up to people. But you see, even some of the trees around me, it's the last couple of hours of summer, so they're in full green leaf canopy here. So that acts as a sail for the wind to catch and bring down power lines, which we see all across this area. So again, this area has been inhabited since the 1600s. So yeah, old established neighborhoods have a lot of power lines, not buried, but aloft. Also because there's so much water around here, it's difficult to bury the power lines. So overall, yes, there's still a state of emergency here, but now we have a transitioning threat. You take a look at the radar here of the risk for severe weather. Just south of us by about 30-40 miles into North Carolina, there's some ongoing tornado warnings. So as these bands kind of spiral in, many off the Atlantic, off the Chesapeake, there's not a lot of friction until they hit land, and that can quickly spin up tornadoes. So we do have that ongoing threat, Reynolds, and it's getting on again, off again, rain showers as we head into this afternoon, but improving weather for the back half of the weekend. Reynolds.
There you go. Paul, thanks so much for that report. Yeah, a lot of patterns begin to develop where you have kind of a break in the action, maybe some sunshine, then you have a wall that comes in of water and rain and just all the fury that comes with it. Hey, let's show you a quick shot of New Bern, North Carolina, right near the banks of the Neuse River. Now, New Bern, you have to know, is about 13 feet above sea level at the highest point, but it is a place that can be subjected to rising water, and that is the story that we have today. Live images, you're seeing them right there. And yes, we've got the flood threat across parts of eastern Virginia into North Carolina and beyond. Power outages also on the uptick along the coast. Let's get to it and show you some of the other issues that we have. Your storm surge warnings, your storm surge watches too. You see them in the various shades of pink. Those are all areas where you have kind of this shoving match, where you have many of the creeks, rivers, streams trying to push the water in one direction out to the Atlantic. However, around the center of circulation, you've got just the opposite. Water and wind is pushing in the opposite. So you have a little bit of a shoving match, so to speak. So that is all expected. Here's something we anticipate in terms of the storm surge potential. My goodness, what is in that coffee this morning? Anywhere from 1 to 3 feet in some locations, 2 to 4 in others. But then when you get into part of I'd say some of the estuaries, not far from Pamlico Sound, 4 to 6 is certainly in the realm of possibility. Now, The way it's reflected in some of the gauges you see here, Solomon's Island, back end of Bishop's Head, it is certainly rising and it will continue to do so. And you certainly see that trend along these locations in Virginia, including Yorktown, Windmill Point. Kelly found one earlier that was along the James River in Jamestown. That has gone up in major flood stage. All of this, unfortunately, what we expected. This is what Kelly found earlier. There you go. And yeah, it does show the rise. And that is a pretty dramatic thing when you see where we were yesterday to where we are now and where we could be. So a little bit of an ebb and a flow is certainly possible going forward over the next several days. It's not a story that begins or ends just in North Carolina or in Virginia. We see it moving into the Delmarva, back into parts of New Jersey, maybe even places like Bridgeport, Stonington, Connecticut could certainly get some action in terms of rising water and big waves. Long Island Sound, you could see big wave heights. Now, in terms of coastal gauges and flood stage, notice that where you have the reds, the orange, and the purples, that's where things are not as they should be, and we may see those problems a bit worse going forward in time, Kelly.
Yeah, because some places are going to go through 2 high tide cycles. Another one later this evening. We'll see that water rise yet again. We're taking a live look at Surf City, North Carolina, where the wave action has been pretty significant. You can see what the winds are doing. Sustained at 31, but gusting close to 50 miles an hour. So again, not a good time to be out on the boardwalk, on the pier there, and even in the water. It's just, I see a surfer out there in the water. Do you see that on the left side of your screen? A couple of people with the surfboards. Oh my goodness. All right, be careful, guys. It is really a rough time out there for sure. I know it's exciting too. I know a lot of people are curious to look at the water, but keep this in mind right here. This is your number of fatalities in that surf zone, especially in Florida. That really stands out with 34 deaths, the majority of those from rip current, being high rip currents. So you can see 73 deaths attributed to rip currents. A lot of rescues having to take place in Florida this year. It's just been a very dangerous time, especially with these storms that have been churning up the seas out there. So pay attention to the flags. Yellow means caution. That means high surf or rip current risk. Swim only near the lifeguards. And this time of year, hard to find the lifeguards, right? We're beyond Labor Day weekend. Red flag means we've got serious hazards, including along the coast of North Carolina. We are seeing the red flags out there today, and you might even see a double red flag, meaning the beach is closed. You're not even supposed to be in the water at all. You're putting your own life at risk and possibly others who might have to go out and rescue you. So again, these flags are going to be out there, even down into Florida, well away from the center of Ophelia. Ophelia is up here, where we have a high rip current risk along the east side of Florida, all the way up to the Jersey Shore and the beaches of Long Island. The surf is up for sure, especially here in North Carolina, but also up toward the north. And the wave action, significant. We're talking about 15 to 20 footers out there. You can see the water basically rising as we head toward the mid-Atlantic later on this afternoon. The waves pounding the shoreline. At the same time, you'll have that coastal flood threat. And then eventually, it takes time, but eventually the waves will calm down as we head towards Monday. We could say goodbye to Ophelia. Reynolds, I'll leave you with this. We have another system out there in the Atlantic that has a 100% chance of developing over the next 7 days. That will be Philippe, I think.
I promise there was a time when the Atlantic Basin was quiet. It was earlier this season. Now it's turned on its head completely. For those of you just tuning in this morning, I know you're waking up, you're rubbing your eyes, probably enjoying your first cup of coffee, and you're just trying to wake up, and we're just taking all this information in a bucket and pouring over your head. So we're going to walk through this, okay? There's a lot to ingest here, no doubt. So we have a center of circulation that is located right here in this spot, okay? And now we have it. It's already made landfall, is moving inshore, but it still brings a lot of threats with it, namely the flash flooding, but also a tornado warning that we have for you. And as we zoom in a couple of key locations, you'll see the situation. Totally, again, not out of the realm of possibility when you have these landfalling systems to bring the threat of tornadic activity. Maybe one of those things that gives you a double, maybe a triple take. Why are we talking about tornadoes? Well, when you have these landfalling systems, sometimes these big concentric bands, you can have tornadoes that form. They tend to be small. They are rain wrapped, but they can still cause a lot of damage and loss of life. Meanwhile, something else we've noticed. Another feature, one of many, in the counties of Craven and Jones, the cities of Havelock, James City, New Bern, we have a flash flood warning that is in effect, and a bit more to the south, more of the same. Not only do you have moisture initially going this direction, now you're having wraparound go from the opposite part of the center of circulation. So you've had 2 doses of pretty heavy rainfall, even light rainfall at this time, and a saturated landscape is going to cause some problems. So this has got a ways to go, not only through the day, but over the next several days, affecting millions of people. And in its path, I would think that we're going to see more potential flooding, possibly more tornadoes and power outages, Kelly.
I want to take you inside the storm using our virtual view technology. I'm here in the city of Raleigh, North Carolina. We're here too, starting off with rain this morning that will only get heavier as we go through the day today. In fact, we do have a flood watch in effect right through this evening. So even well away from the coastline, you've got the effects of Ophelia. Here's a look at our rainfall amounts that we'll likely see adding up in the gauges, anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. May not sound like a lot, but remember, trees can easily come down with these gusts of wind around 40, 50 miles an hour and the ground being so saturated. So we bring our storm northbound throughout North Carolina today, and it slowly moves up into Virginia later on tonight, and certainly during the overnight hours we can say all is clear here in North Carolina, but it gets worse for our neighbors to the north, right? So here's a look at the winds, strongest near that center of circulation, but also the rain bands far away from the center of circulation. You could even have severe weather, including isolated tornadoes, so be careful. Our live team coverage continues next.
Get saucy. Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99.
Power outages are unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life,
posing a real threat to your comfort and safety. When the power goes out, you have no lights, no refrigeration, no heating or air conditioning. Your well or sump pump won't work. Your modern daily electronics are rendered useless. And what if the power's out for days or weeks? Are you prepared? You can be with a Generac home standby generator.
With the Generac, it powers our well, our refrigerator, and my CPAP machine, which are all things that we need to survive on a day-to-day basis.
When a power outage occurs, your Generac home standby generator automatically powers up, so your life goes on without disruption. You and your family are comfortable, safe, and secure. Generac generators run on your home's existing natural gas or propane, and Generac's Mobile Link remote monitoring system keeps you posted on operating status, maintenance updates, and more. Generac generators are designed, engineered, and purpose-built in the USA. Generac is the #1 manufacturer of home standby generators in the world. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
We chose Generac because we see them everywhere. After the hurricane, I looked at my wife and said, thank God we have a Generac. We were safe.
And owning a generator is easier than ever. Special financing is available with low monthly payment options. Act now, and you will also receive a free 10-year warranty valued at $1,035. Call or go online now to request your free quote with one of Generac's 8,000 nationwide dealers. The call is free, the quote is free, and there's no obligation to buy. Call or go online now so the next time there's a power outage, your home powers up. Power your life with Generac. Call or go online to request your free quote today.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, chameleon. Come and go, you come and go. Love will be easy because I like my dream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green.
Hey, it's me, your dry skin. I'm craving something we're missing. The ceramides in CeraVe. CeraVe with 3 essential ceramides helps restore my natural barrier so I can lock in moisture and we can feel it long after. CeraVe moisturizers.
The celebration of our wondrous Earth continues with back-to-back episodes of Secrets of the Earth, starting tonight at 8/7 Central, only on the Weather Channel.
Every bourbon pecan buck, strawberry Sally, or cashew Carol can indulge their cravings at nuts.com. With countless delicious snacks, enjoy every flavor of happy. Right now, get free shipping on your first order.
Grandma, I wish you were here.
I wish I was too.
Hey, Mike, sorry you can't make it.
Me too.
Grandpa, we miss you.
If you have a sleep disorder, proper maintenance of your sleep equipment could help you avoid getting sick.
Don't miss out on those important moments. Sleep equipment manufacturers recommend daily cleaning, and SoClean is a helpful complement to your daily routine. Join over 2 million SoClean customers enjoying peace of mind. Order now and save over $60 at SoClean.com.
Of the Weather Channel, now available to everyone.
This is epic!
Trusted live coverage when it matters most is now yours to stream with the Weather Channel TV app, real-time radar, and maps that let you track all the action. Exclusive storm coverage to keep you informed, landfall cameras, and live interactive chats with our weather experts, and so much more. There's never been a better way for everyone to watch the Weather Channel. Available now on these platforms. Download now to start your free 7-day trial.
Power outages on the rise in North Carolina and Virginia. Here in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, there's a good reason why. That pole there was on fire for a little bit. That fire seems to be out at this point, but take a look how those high tension lines are just holding on to the very top of that pole. Amazing. We heard the explosion happen, and it split that pole in half like that. They're going to have to do a lot of work to get that back up and running, because those are not just normal power lines. Those are high tension lines providing power here on Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Good morning. I'm Justin Michaels. We're following those power outages, and it was Ophelia that caused this here in Atlantic Beach. Our very own Mike Seidel shot some video earlier this morning. You can see just how powerful the winds were. The eye wall coming ashore, just incredible. We were in the eye wall for a while, and I will tell you, it was wild to live through it. While Mike was shooting that, we were live on the air this morning, and it was tough to stand up. We were having intense winds coming through, battered by the sand. That was causing storm surge issues here on the coast, and those issues continue this hour. So the story of Ophelia is continuing, moving from here in North Carolina, still providing the winds we're experiencing, but also moving into Virginia, and then eventually later today also up into New Jersey and Delaware and Maryland, and eventually even pushing the moisture from this storm up into New England. So we've got a long way to go, a lot of people in the path of what will be Ophelia as this storm continues to move through. The brunt of it, though, earlier today being felt right here on the coast of North Carolina as landfall was made several hours ago. So remember, storm surge is a major issue. 4 to 6 feet is the forecast for storm surge inland here, not just along the coast, but well inland. So make sure you're heeding any warnings that might come up. Don't be driving into storm water or floodwaters, because that can be a catastrophic problem for you guys. Remember, driving into floodwater is so dangerous because you don't know what the state of the road is underneath that flooding. You might even be able to see the line saying, hey, I can make it. You have no idea how much washout there might be underneath the road. So it's a good reminder, just stay out of floodwaters until they recede. And I will tell you guys, the winds are still whipping through here. You probably saw the camera get knocked there. Marshall Staten behind the lens. We're still some major gusts. Guys, into you.
Marshall is a veteran photojournalist, and for Marshall to kind of get pushed a little bit, that's some strong wind. I mean, he's got good balance.
It's been persistent, too.
Yes,
and Justin was saying earlier, they kind of switch direction, which can also cause problems, because, you can have the wind going one direction, weaken a structure, and then the winds come back the other side and take it down.
It's true.
And I just got a report of a roof coming off a building that was northeast of Ocean City in Maryland.
I bet we see more of that. I think we're going to see a lot more of that today, and a lot of tree damage, too. When the final history books are written, possibly in the first chapter we may have will be these details, Kelly.
Yeah, of course, it made that landfall 6:15 Eastern time near Emerald Isle, right along the Crystal Coast of North Carolina. High-end tropical storm, not quite a hurricane, but so close.
You know what's interesting is if this had another 30 minutes, another hour.
Yeah, because the pressure was dropping from previous advisory. We noticed that number went down. That's your millibars right there, 981. So again, with this system, now that it's inland, you might think, oh, we're done, the hazards are over, but that is not the case. It's a big storm. It's top-loaded moisture-wise all the way up into Pennsylvania with that cloud shield, and then, of course, the heavy rain bands well away from the center.
All right, so we know where it is. We know where it's going, at least in short order. Long term, this is the idea. Expected to possibly move back out over the Atlantic.
Tomorrow morning, it's only getting into North Carolina, or Virginia, I should say. So it's kind of slow moving for now, and then eventually losing tropical characteristics as we see the remnants, the leftovers of Ophelia still affecting the Northeast as we head through tomorrow.
Bad combination of soil that's saturated with wind sustained around 40. I think we're going to see more problems. Oof.
All right, we want to take a look at fall allergies because that's another thing that happens this time of year besides the tropics, of course. Here is a look at where the pollen count has been running a little high, especially the ragweed this time of the year, Reynolds. That's really the problem this time of year.
We've had some sneezing here in the studio this morning. Yeah, that may be the reason why. Plenty of it. But it's not only in the southeast, Kelly. We have it also in the Central Plains.
Central, Southern Plains, parts of the Southwest as well, and not quite into the Northeast or Great Lakes, but it's coming for you as well. Typically, you know, this time of the year, it is the weed that we have the biggest problem with.
Watch out for the weed. There you go. For spring and summer, you see what happens there. Now, high pollen counts, usually dry weather, but with rain, it can help things, Kelly.
So here's some tips for you to help nip those seasonal allergies in the bud. Stay indoors when possible. If you do go outdoors for chores like mowing the lawn, wear a mask. Always check with the Weather Channel for pollen counts. If they're high, start taking those meds right away. You can also close doors and windows at night. Use the air conditioning. And lastly, you can always try over-the-counter medicine, including nasal sprays and antihistamines.
Weather Wellness brought to you by Physicians Mutual. Insurance for all of us.
Ah, what a beautiful day to welcome you to your retirement with Physicians Mutual, including coverage for the gaps in Medicare.
Oh, I'm so happy I could just sing.
You've got that happy retirement feeling.
I've got that Physicians Mutual feeling. You helped me find the coverage I need,
so you can have the retirement you deserve.
I've got a good feeling now that I'm covered.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
Do you shop for vitamins at Walmart? Force Factor products powerfully improve your health, but they're also delicious, easy to use, and affordable. That's why Force Factor is now the #1 best-selling superfoods brand in America. Unleash your potential with Force Factor at Walmart.
Only the new Sleep Number smart beds let you both sleep at your ideal level of comfort, your Sleep Number setting. And now, all of our new next-gen smart beds have temperature benefits. Save $400 on the new Sleep Number C4 smart bed, now only $14.99. Sleep next level. Shop now, only at Sleep Number.
Ever notice how stiff clothes can feel rough on your skin? For softer clothes that are gentle on your skin, try Downy Free and Gentle. Downy will soften your clothes without dyes or perfumes. The towel washed with Downy is softer and gentler on your skin. Try Downy Free and Gentle.
I need you. I need you every single day and I want you.
Wayfair has deals so big that you might get a big head. Because with savings so real, you can get your dream sofa for half the price. Wayfair, it's always a big deal.
Wayfair, you've got just what I need.
Here it goes. I talk to my plants like they're babies.
Do you?
Yes, I do, don't I? Oh, my little babies. Oh, you need some water, babies.
Hey, you don't have to get that personal to get the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It just helps you create an affordable price. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
A new arrival alarms the Brotherhood of Muscle. Muscular features signal power and performance. Attributes they've never seen in this build. Behold, a new breed. Ready to swarm. Ready to sting. Ready to electrify. The defiant, power-packed, all-new hybrid electric Dodge Hornet RT. Performance electrified.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did we just get hustled? There's no way they were 70. Interesting. It's both an electric and a gas car. Yep. Quite the paradox. So JJ's for lunch?
Electric for short trips, gas for long. It really is both. The first ever Lexus RX plug-in hybrid.
Well, the coast of North Carolina, including right here in Surf City, under a tropical storm warning this morning.
That's right. As Ophelia heads north, its outer bands are bringing widespread rain, wind, and with it, quite a bit of damage out there, Kelly.
It looks like, I'm trying to tell if that's a reflection or not. It looks like the water has come up and it's kind of moving over that pier right now.
It does every now and then. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I do. And you definitely see some surfers out there in the distance too.
Yeah, in that water over to the left side of your screen. So again, surf is up. I know it's exciting, but please be careful. That water extremely dangerous, and we're going to continue to have issues all day long.
Okay, folks, well, welcome back to America's Weekend Headquarters. I am meteorologist Reynolds Wolf.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Cass. We are standing on the path of Ophelia. It made that landfall earlier this morning at 6:15, but its path takes it up toward the northeast. So we have the alerts on the map behind us, tropical storm warnings. We're still going to have impacts like severe weather, flooding, and even storm surge flooding.
Yeah, then you can pick some other issues that we could have. Not only the wind damage, we could have some tornadic activity. Kelly mentioned the flooding. There's a lot that we're dealing with this particular system.
Now, the good news is, as you can see behind us, also the wind gotten down a little 65, 70 when it initially made that landfall along the Crystal Coast of North Carolina. Well, Wilmington under a tropical storm warning this morning. So we are tracking conditions at a lot of various places. We've got cameras everywhere. And there is a look at the surf, someone walking along the beach right now. I tell you what, these winds have been whipping up around 40, at times up to 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, they were strong. And I mean, earlier this morning when Justin Michaels was first signing on with us, the visibility was unbelievably just crazy. But at this hour, we're seeing some people walk along the beach, probably seeing some shells out there, and also even more surfers.
Yeah, and that high surf advisory in effect up and down the East Coast. You've also got the strong winds that we'll be dealing with throughout the day. And remember, this is not just a Carolina thing. We've got the rain bands extending well to the north. And in fact, some of these rain bands that can cause severe weather too, as far north as Ocean City, Maryland. Reynolds, I just saw a report of trees being snapped or uprooted and a roof coming off as well. That was just to the northeast of Ocean City, Maryland.
Yeah, it's going to be messy. It really is. And it was a messy system when it came on shore, but a strong one with winds of 70 miles an hour. Not quite a hurricane, but awfully close, Kelly.
It was so close. The pressure was actually dropping right before it came ashore. So a high-end tropical storm, almost like a Category 1 hurricane if you think about it, because all you need are winds of 74 miles an hour. And of course, you have a hurricane and that happens. All right, let's move this along and take a look at where Ophelia is now. Of course, now that it has come ashore, we still have a top-loaded system, if you will. Lots of moisture showing the rain bands extending well to the north, well away from the center, and it's now moving north at 13 miles an hour.
I know one person who saw this in its very beginning and saw, well, some of the worst of it is my friend and yours, Justin Michaels, our national correspondent. Let's go to Justin right now. Power outages, a new part of the story that, well, at least you've been seeing in front of you, but there are thousands without power at this hour.
That's right, Reynolds and Kelly. Those numbers keep going up. Over 60,000 customers without power here in North Carolina and Virginia combined. You can only expect those numbers to go up. Here in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, a culprit for at least some of the folks is that power pole right up there. You can see it kind of dangling and hanging there. It literally blew up and split in half up there at the top, and that certainly caused issues here in this, at least this one section of Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Let's talk to the fire chief, Chief Simpson. Chief, we're grateful for you. I know you guys have a lot going on. Tell me, as far as the state of the island, how are things right now from your perspective?
Everything's looking pretty good right now. We've experienced about what we expected. There's a little bit of siding, shingles going from houses, things of that nature that you'd expect. And throughout the night, we didn't have anything too major. Responded to a few fire alarms, but we do have quite a few power lines down throughout the town. Couple of snap poles here and there, and as you were just talking about the pole behind us here, this particular pole supports some of the main transmission lines that feed the whole east end of Atlantic Beach, and it is currently burned into and suspended by those transmission lines. So we're trying to keep the area secure and safe for everybody, and our power companies are busy throughout the county as expected this morning, so they've got a little delayed response time, but we're just waiting for them to get here and secure this situation. And other than that, everything seems about what we'd expect. It hasn't been too bad.
Very good. Chief Simpson, it's good to hear that coming from you. You're the man who would know, so we're grateful for you. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate you. So it's good to hear that from the chief. Of course, power outages are a pain for anybody who's living through them. But again, they're dealing with them all over North Carolina right now. And it's things like that. As we go to commercial break, amazing to see a power pole snapped in half. We do a video we'll be showing you throughout the course of the morning of that power pole on fire. Really remarkable. The power of this storm as it continues to push north, and the Weather Channel will have extensive coverage of that storm as it moves. Stay with us, folks.
Hey, Peyton. Thanks for hosting Slider Sunday.
You got it.
But aren't we missing something?
Look who saved Slider Sunday again! Wow. Here we go. Perfect King's Hawaiian slider. Tastes good too.
Classic Eli. Love that guy.
Seriously.
King's Hawaiian Slider Sunday.
The only way to Sunday.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
NetCredit is here to say yes to a personal loan or line of credit, even when other lenders won't. Apply online in minutes and get funds deposited the next business day or sooner. Go to netcredit.com. NetCredit. Credit to the people.
Do you shop for vitamins at Walmart? Force Factor products powerfully improve your health, but they're also delicious, easy to use, and affordable. That's why Force Factor is now the #1 best-selling superfoods brand in America. Unleash your potential with Force Factor at Walmart.
Wayfair has deals so big that you might get a big head. Because with savings so real, you can get your dream sofa for half the price. Wayfair, it's always a big deal.
Wayfair, you've got just what I need.
Remember the things you loved before asthma got in the way? Fasenra is an add-on treatment for asthma driven by eosinophils. It's designed to target and remove them and helps prevent asthma attacks. Fasenra is not for sudden breathing problems or other eosinophilic conditions. Allergic reactions may occur. Don't stop your asthma treatments without talking with your doctor. Tell your doctor if your asthma worsens. Headache and sore throat may occur. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. Get back to better breathing. Ask your doctor about Fasenra.
So I didn't think I needed Swiffer until I saw how easily it picked up my hair every time I dried it. It only takes a minute. Look at that. The heavy-duty cloths are extra thick for amazing trap and lock, even for his hair. Wow. And for dust, I love my heavy-duty duster. The fluffy fibers trap dust on contact. Up high and all around without having to lift a thing. I'm so hooked. You'll love Swiffer or your money back.
Can the flavor of a slow-cooked smoked sausage be so good?